Welcome back into the Rounding Third podcast, episode 214. It's all about number 42. I'm Nick, and we have Harrison tonight. How we doing, Harrison?
Fantastic. How we doing?
Pretty good. Some interesting news to kind of get to this week. So we'll dive right in. But first, make sure that you follow and like us on Facebook. You can subscribe on YouTube. You can also follow on Instagram, Rumble, and TikTok. Or you can listen on Spotify and Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. We also have our affiliate sponsors at the top of our socials. We have links to these companies: Dick's Sporting Goods, MLB Shop, and Lids. So if you do any shopping for the products from these companies, you just click on the link and we get a nice little kickback from whatever you buy with no additional cost to you. So please check those out and go ham. Buy what you want from these companies. I got some hats coming in again, probably here pretty soon because I have an addiction. So
Yeah, why not?
But the first step is admitting I have one. So, anyways,
Yes, but
check
then you have
those
to actually
links
want to
out.
fix the problem, which you don't. So
Facts.
kind of back where we started.
Yeah. So check those out for us. It's just a great way to support us. So please check those out. And we also have a Rounding Third merch on Rounding Third Baseball on Etsy. You can check it out. We have sweatshirts, t-shirts, tumblers, phone cases, a whole bunch of stuff on there. So check it out. It's great. Another great way to support us and to get our name out there. All right. Diving right in. April 15th, crossed MLB, Jackie Robinson Day. It's one of my favorite days of the year. Everybody wears the blue 42 on their back of the uniform. And it just baseball, sports, and society as a general owe this guy a debt that can never be repaid. We talk about it every year when this day comes up. Like, this is one of the best baseball exhibits in the Hall of Fame. And I don't know if have you ever been there, Harrison?
I have, yes.
I mean, this exhibit alone is it's insane because it's a lot of emotion in one spot. You know what I mean? Like, you're celebrating him, you're celebrating who he is and what he did on the field, but you also see the abuse that he went. I mean, the actual hate mail in the exhibit is just, it's tough to see. But yeah, you're learning about him in school. I mean, that's awesome. I mean, what this guy brought to the game and changed sports in general is just, it's amazing. And the debt can never be repaid.
Yeah, it's a glimpse into a time and an era and an experience that most of us have no idea about, truly. And I always loved his original quote. It was "I'm not concerned with your liking or disliking me. All I ask is that you respect me as a human being." And that was literally all he could hope for when he joined MLB, was just some level of respect. And all the movies that have been done, the books that have been written, the stories that have been told, it's incredible that somebody would put up with so much and continue to push forward for a game that clearly didn't want him, and a fan base that didn't want him at the time, for a game that wasn't ready for him. And
Right.
thankfully he had a few guys that kind of rallied around him and helped him through it, and we're able to get to that breakthrough. But the steps he took opened the door for so many players and so many great players. And I think the latest stat is that, in terms of across MLB, you're at 6%, 6% of all players in MLB were black. And now it's 6.2. Like, it continues to move up a little bit every year, as his legacy and his impact just continues to be felt all these years later.
Yeah. And I mean, it's not even like just the African-American players, right? It's the Caribbean players and everybody coming from Cuba and Mexico. Like, it opened the door for everybody, and that's how it should be. I mean, baseball is a global sport, and it should be for everybody. It's just absolutely amazing, and it helps that this guy was an incredible athlete.
Yeah,
I mean, what this guy did on the field, the track, the everything. It was just, it's amazing. But I'm so glad that MLB had done this, and Griffey started it, right? Because he got like league permission just back in I want to say 07-ish, he got permission to wear number 42 on that day. And MLB's like, oh, hey, like,
Yeah.
you're onto something here. Like
This is a good idea.
Yeah, this is a great idea. And it's just kind of built from there. So absolutely incredible. I love this day. It's awesome. So
Well, I actually saw somebody make a comment the other day in a Facebook group that, if he wasn't really a good ball player, it was all just a publicity thing and a breaking the color barrier. But don't forget, this is a guy who played 10 years, Rookie of the Year, 6-time All-Star. He was the first black player to win the NL MVP. He played in 6 World Series.
yeah,
He was pretty good last time I checked. This was not like create a scene and sell some tickets. Like, the guy could play.
you don't put somebody in the Hall of Fame for a publicity stunt. Like,
Unless you're Bud Selig.
Well, we won't go there, but too soon. But yeah, absolutely incredible. I'm glad that we get to celebrate him every year. It's one of my favorite days. But.
Yeah, the only day of the year you see number 42 anymore, because all the guys that were grandfathered in are gone now.
Yep. Yeah, was Mariano the last one?
Mo was the last one, yeah.
Mo was the last one. Yeah. All right, moving on. The new Captain America. So manager Mark DeRosa of Team USA called Trout and asked if he could make Judge the captain. And Trout, with all the class that Mike Trout has, he goes, he's the one. It's like straight out of like Star Wars or Mandalorian. It's like, yeah. So it's great. And it's the right call. I mean, us being Red Sox fans, it's hard to give a Yankees player props, but Aaron Judge is a class act. He really is. We've seen him deal with his own fans in his ballpark. The leadership he has on the team, everybody follows what he does all the time. It's definitely the right call for him to be the leader of Team USA.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and he is clearly the best player in baseball, and you can miss me with the Ohtani arguments. And he is absolutely the face of American baseball in terms of, actual, US based players. He is the face of it. Bobby Witt's behind him somewhere, but it's a big distance. Aaron Judge has clearly become the guy across MLB.
Yeah, I got nothing else to add to that. I mean, he's head and shoulders, literally and figuratively, above everybody else. Like it's not even close. And if this USA team shapes up to be what Harper's hoping it's going to be, and DeRosa's hoping it's going to be, this team could even be better than what we saw in 2023, and that could be crazy scary.
Yeah, there's a lot of players that are kind of coming out and saying, yeah, I'd play. I think Pete Alonso came out and said he'd like to play if there's room for him. There's a lot of players that are starting to come out and say, yeah, I'd play. I'd definitely do it.
We need the pitching, though. That's where we kind of were struggling last year. Was like, we had a killer lineup last year. I mean, you had Schwarber and Turner and Betts and Trout. And I mean, just keep going down that lineup. It was ridiculous. But the ace of our staff was who? Merrill Kelly. Like, yeah,
Kelly
and Brady Singer. Like, yes, they're nice, but they're not your Corbin Burns. They're not your Garrett Coles. They're not your top of the line guys. So I think pitching is what really needs to be on the recruit here. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. So as it stands right now, the players that at some point have expressed some interest, your starting lineup would be Bobby Witt Jr., Mookie Betts, Kyle Tucker, Aaron Judge, Bryce Harper, Mike Trout, Gunnar Henderson, Adley Rutschman, Jackson Merrill.
Yikes.
And you've also had Pete Alonso come out and say he'd like to play. So we'll see. Now, Bryce Harper was asked yesterday, if he was willing to commit. And he said, no, I'm not willing to commit. I want to play. He goes, I missed the last one hurt because he's come back from the elbow surgery. He goes, I need to get through this year before I make any commitments. Yeah, he says, but if I'm healthy, I'm there.
Mm-hmm. It's like, that's fair.
Okay, I get it.
I think that's a lot of them too. I mean, like, the baseball season is such a grind, like we talk about every week. Like, I get it. Like, things can happen. But who would you like to see for pitchers?
I mean, honestly, I think everybody wants to see Paul Skeens. I think you want to see him on
Thousand
the
percent.
big stage.
Yep.
To me, that's a no brainer.
Would you bring Logan Webb?
I mean, I'd bring all those guys. I would bring, I mean, Scooble, Hunter Green, Crochet.
Well,
I mean, all of them. Bring them all. Zach Wheeler.
yeah, Zach Wheeler. It's a
I
good
mean,
one.
bring them all. Yeah, Logan Gilbert, Garrett Crochet, Zach Wheeler, Hunter Green, Tariq Scooble, Paul Skeens, Logan Webb. I mean, bring them all.
Goodness gracious, that would
Just don't
be.
bring Jorge Lopez.
Well, I don't think we'd have to worry about that for Team USA, anyways.
No.
But
And then
um,
you think your bullpen. I mean, who do you want closing games? You'd like to see Mason Miller there?
yeah, 1,000%. Yes,
Ryan
please.
Helsley, Josh Hader, Devin Williams. You know,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
you got Michael King, who could be a
that's-
starter on that team too. You've got a lot of options.
yeah, yeah. And like I said, Merrill Kelly and Brady Singer did fine. They actually had pretty good WBCs, but I want to see the best of the best. I mean,
Yeah.
pull some of those arms out of Seattle. Logan Gilbert, any of those guys that want to come down.
Yep.
So I don't
Yeah.
know.
I think
We will see.
you grab them all. We got a long time to build this team, but there are so many good players that are interested, and there's even some comments about the fact Pete Alonso wants to play, but there may not be a spot for him. He may not make the team.
Right.
You could have a guy like Pete Alonso try to opt in and be told, "Sorry, dude, there's not room."
Right. Imagine that. Crazy.
And Trout has already basically committed too. He wants to play alongside Judge.
Yeah. That kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, and Trout, knock on wood, looks healthy.
yeah.
And I just
All right. Yeah. Thanks. All right. Let's stick with Aaron Judge, sort of. So, Juan Soto's comments and Judge's responses. If you haven't seen this, Juan Soto came out and said he was asked about how he's fitting in the lineup with the Mets, and he comes out with something like this. He said, I had the best hitter in baseball hitting behind me. I was getting more attacked and more pitches in the strike zone, less intentional walks, and things like that. I was pitched differently last year. So that was his response to this year versus last year with Judge behind him. Now, Judge has a response to that because someone came and was like, hey, Soto said this. What do you have to say about that in response to that? And Judge says, quote, I'm not really looking going back and forth with this. He's got probably one of the best hitters in the game behind him right now and what Alonso is doing. It has been fun to watch. He's hitting close to 400. He's driving the ball to all over the field, driving guys in. End quote. And that's that. What is your overall take / response to Soto's comments?
Well, I just want to step back for a second and allow us to take a victory lap for a moment, because we said the minute he signed in New York, or the minute he signed with the Mets, I should say, not New York, the minute he signed with the Mets, this was going to be a challenge for Soto. One, bigger outfield. His defense is going to get exposed, and he's had some rough nights.
Yep.
Two, he's never been the man before, and now he's the man. He is the number one guy in that lineup. He's never been the number one guy in the lineup. He's always been Robin, and somebody else has been Batman.
Yep.
He's now Batman, and he's never played that role before. And three, losing Aaron Judge or leaving the Yankees hurts him more than it hurts Aaron Judge. And we're immediately seeing that. So everything we said would happen has happened. Yep. And here he is. What are we? He's 65 at bats into the season, not a big sample set, hitting 231. Really struggling at the plate. The swing looks off. He's chasing pitches like we've never seen before from him, and he just looks completely out of sorts. And I do think is what you're seeing is a guy, and I'm not saying this is a permanent thing, but what you're seeing is a guy who's struggling to transition to being the guy, and to taking the scrutiny and to having the heat on him. The focus is on him. The pressure of that contract is getting to him. And he's now trying to find reasons to deflect and point to reasons why he's not performing, when in reality it's him. He's not having super competitive at bats. And this is the guy who's brought in as a generational hitter, and he looks pretty freaking average right now.
Yeah. I mean, no doubt having Aaron Judge behind you
Yep.
makes you a better hitter because you will see pitches for sure. And is Pete Alonso nice? Yes. Is he as scary as Aaron Judge? Maybe at some points, because when Pete's on a
Yeah.
heater, he's on a heater. I mean, he can
Nobody
be as
gets
hot
hot
as
like Pete.
yeah. So I mean, I think it is everything that you said, Harrison. It is the pressure of making an immediate impact on a new team. It's being the guy, and it's just kind of everything has snowballed to this one part. And I think he will settle in. He's too
Yeah.
good of a hitter. He's too talented to not get back to his averages. But he really can't complain about that lineup. I mean, the Mets are in first place, right? Still?
They are. And honestly, they're in first place because their pitching's actually been good
Yeah.
and their offense has been okay. Which the pitching was what we were most concerned about. But
Very concerned.
their pitching has given up the second fewest runs in the National League and third fewest in the league, like all of MLB.
Yeah.
No, sorry, they're now second fewest in all of MLB. The only team that's given up fewer runs than them is the Padres, who've given up one less run. The Mets
Yeah.
pitching has been fantastic.
Yeah.
The offense has been pretty average.
I mean, Captain, I hope this is like a tongue-in-cheek question because I'm taking Judge hands down. Like it's not, like I get it. I get that he needs to learn how to hit in front of Alonso. And that is different, right? Because he's gonna see a different sequence of pitches with Pete Alonso hitting behind him. Because Alonso is a high strikeout guy. Is he a high power guy? Yes. But he also strikes out a ton. So
But he's
you
not a
can
58 home run, 60 home run guy like Judge either.
right. Well, that's what I'm saying. So like you can somewhat nibble around Soto and pitch him differently, right? He's not going to get attacked like he was in New York, where pitchers are like, "All right, I got to try to get Soto out here because Judge is coming up behind him." Like it's. I get it. His whole approach has to change, and he has to figure out how to do that. He has to make the adjustment.
Yeah, and I will say in Soto's defense, Frankie Lindor has not been setting the table. He's equally hitting poorly. I mean that if it was not for the fact that Alonso has been pretty hot to start the year, that Mets offense has nothing going for it. Frankie Lindor not doing much. Soto not doing much. Alonso doing all of it.
Yep.
And other than that, it's been sporadic contributions from the Winkers and Nimos of the world, but it's been a lot of Alonso early on because Frankie the 1 and 2 holes have been black holes a lot of nights.
Yep. And good for Pete Alonso for coming back and making an impact. Where like his offseason was, like not great. And a lot of people were like, well, is he worth this money? And as we saw, a lot of teams were like, nope, no, he's not worth this money. Mets brought him back, and he's showing that he deserved a contract.
Well, and right now he's the best signing you made this offseason. Alonso's the best contract you signed. Because without him, I don't know where you'd be right now.
Yeah, agree. But I mean, is Soto ever going to live up to that contract? Well, I mean, earn every penny of that contract.
No, I think there's two things at play here. One, you're never going to live up to that contract because there's no justification for it. That was Cohen saying, "I want the shiny object. I'll buy the shiny object." So Soto was never going to live up to that. But more importantly, we're 2.5 weeks into the season.
Right.
This is 65 at bats. You are what 10% of the way through, and yeah, Soto's not performing. Lindor is not performing. Yeah, it's a tough start, but it's also just the start. I'm sure we're going to look up the All-Star break and be like, oh yeah, Soto's fine. But we said going in, Citi Field's a bigger ballpark. He's lost Judge's protection, and he's not going to put up the same numbers he did last year. Everybody's thinking he's going to be this, he's going to hit 300 and hit 45 and drive in 120. It's not who he's ever been. Like he's never been that guy.
Right.
The expectations are so high on him because of the contract that he's never going to live up to it anyways, because he's not that type of player. But he's the kind of player who's going to take that lineup and lengthen it and strengthen it, and he's going to give you so much more. but it is very early.
Yeah, for Soto, it's his OBP really that
Yeah.
was getting him paid, right? Like, yes, he had power numbers. Yes, he had RBI numbers, but his OBP is consistently over 450 every year. And
Yeah.
that's what you're paying for, right? Because he draws walks, but he'll make you pay if you make a mistake in the zone. Heck, even if you make a good pitch in the zone, he'll make you pay.
Right.
But if he's chasing early and his at bats look, like he's flailing all over the place, like that's not what you paid him for. You paid him for his strike zone knowledge and his on base percentage. And we're not seeing that yet. He looks all out of sorts.
He does. And this to me feels a little bit like Devers at the start. Like he's just not on it yet. And he'll get there. He's going to need some time. He's transitioning to a new team. He's transitioning. It's a different lineup. He's got super high expectations he's never had. He's expected to be the guy. He's in the spotlight every day. The papers are wanting to write about him and talk about him every breath. This is different.
Yeah.
And he's off to a rough start.
Yeah, Captain, this is a great point. When we see similar contracts, maybe, but he will be judged until then, and that's every fan until he starts performing, we're gonna be like, why did y'all pay him this much?
Yeah, and
Mets
but
fans too.
even if he goes out and has a season like last year and hits 288 with 41 and 109, at the end of the season you're going to go $51 million bought me that? Like that's all I got? Yeah,
Well,
that's all you're going to get. Like that's all you're going to get. That's who he is. He's a 40. His most career home runs was the 41 he hit last year in Yankee Stadium with Aaron Judge behind him. He's
and a
going to be
short porch.
right. He's going to be a 35. He's going to be a guy that hits 290, 35 and 100 with a 425 OBP. That's who he is.
Yeah.
And if you expect him to suddenly be a 50 and 125 guy, that's just not who he is. He is a line drive gap hitter.
Yeah, like Gray Foley. Yeah.
So
and we've said the whole time that he was overpaid for that contract. And I think every reasonable fan out there knows that he was overpaid for it. And that's a lot of pressure to live up to, like knowing you are overpaid. Maybe he thinks he's worth it, I mean, athletes have that ego, and most of them should, because they are the top 1% in the world when it comes to baseball players. I get it.
Yep.
But 700 and what is it? 800 million could possibly, but 800 could be the top end, right? Depending on, or 765 the cap.
I think 765 is the cap.
Either way, whatever. It's just he's never going to live up to it. It's way too much money for him, and he's going to feel the pressure the entire time.
Yeah, but I will say, we said this on this show several times. Thanks, Lance. Appreciate it, bud.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
We said this on the show several times when he signed that contract, that you cannot expect New York Yankee Juan Soto to walk through those doors.
No.
Because bigger ballpark, different lineup. He's now the guy. He had a career year last year, and that is not going to be the norm. Not in that ballpark, not with that team. No. And everybody expect him to be like another level of player, where that's exactly who he is. So we said this going into it. His production was going to come down a little bit given the changes. Doesn't mean he's not a great ball player.
No.
But Mets fans are beginning to boo him. He's starting to get a lot of heat locally from the writers, the fans. And if that doesn't change, we could have like a Trey Turner situation where you get a guy that gets lost in his own head and has a tough time finding it for like a whole year.
Yeah. And remember, he's still only 26? We're still really young.
Yeah. He turns 27, at the end of the year or later this year.
Yeah. So we're still really young, and a lot riding on a 26-year-old. I couldn't even imagine what that kind of pressure would have felt when I was 26. There's no way. I would have melted straight up.
Well, and it's hard though, because this is a guy who's in his 8th season.
Yeah, right.
Like, he's been around for so long. He came up when he was 19. But I do think, and Lance, totally agree.
That's a great point.
It's these transition, when you pick yourself up and drop yourself in a new team, fitting into the Yankees was easy. That ballpark fit him. The lineup was a perfect fit. He dropped him behind the best hitter in all of baseball. Easy peasy. Now he's got to go find his own way, and that is different. And Frankie Lindor, his adjustment was a bit of a struggle. And even now, that fan base still doesn't truly love Frankie Lindor for what he does.
Which is crazy.
They
I still
continue
don't
to want
understand that.
more.
He is one of the best shortstops of our generation, and they just don't like appreciate what they have at shortstop every day with Francisco Lindor. I will
He's
never understand that.
Lindor. I mean, if you looked around the league, you'd probably argue that Corey Seager is the number one overall shortstop in baseball. Frankie Lindor is a really close second. It might even be a 1A 1B situation, and Mets fans still expect more out of him.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of that. Part of that is that's the Mets mentality, Mets fans mentality as a little brother of the Yankees. That is just a mouth foaming desire to win. And I think the fans are unrealistic. And because of that, you put these expectations on players that they're never going to live up to. And then you grow to resent them for not doing it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I agree.
But I still, Frankie Lindor will go 0 for 4, and by the fourth at bat, he's starting to hear boos. Like I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't either.
And they're going to be even worse to Soto as the year goes on. Like he's going to have to get on a heater here and right things, or it's going to be a whole lost year to, in his head.
Yeah, which I think he will. Like you said, it's early. It's Juan Soto. He's gonna figure it out.
Yeah, he's too good to hit 231 all year. But
yeah,
this is, like I said, we expected a slight decline. He's gonna trend to that, and I think it's gonna be a tough season for him. I think he's gonna get a dose of what being the guy looks like.
Yeah.
It's not easy. Aaron Judge, to everything you said about him being the captain, Aaron Judge takes a lot of crap from the media, the fans, and just lets it roll off his back. And I don't think Soto has the maturity to do that yet.
Right. That's a little bit of the age gap there, right? Yep. Judge is a little bit older. He's been in New York his entire career, so it's almost, I wouldn't say it's become numb to him, but he has learned to deal with it.
Yep.
But, he's also the first player to go out there when fans are throwing stuff at Miles Straw. Say what you want about Miles Straw. But he's the first one to point up into the stands and say, hey, cut it out. Like, we don't do that here. Like that's a leader. That's the type of guy. And I think that's where the mentality differs between him and Soto.
Yeah, I do think there's a level of experience, maturity that comes with. There's also a mindset to that where, like, you have that comfort and confidence to do it. I think Soto's proven over time he's just not that type of leader like Judge is. He's not vocal. He's not a rah-rah guy. He's not a in-your-face guy. He's a very quiet guy. Gets to the ballpark, does his work, goes home. I mean, even a lot of the Yankees players, when he left, like, didn't have his phone number. They couldn't even call him to like wish him well. So it's hard to be standoffish and the face of the franchise at the same time. Those are very much at odds. And Soto's going to get his world rocked. The expectations of him on his time, his ability to reach the media, the fans, is not something he's used to.
No. Yep. Well, you have the spotlight on you, buddy.
Yeah.
It's your time to shine.
It's going to be a long freaking season for him in New York.
Yeah.
And he's going to have to learn to love the suck of being the face of the franchise, or it's going to be a long 5 years till he can opt out.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Let's move on to Mr. Alex Verdugo. So with Profar's exit and the Braves' early struggles, the Braves call him up to the big club. Now, we knew it was only a matter of time. He was kind of just sitting in AAA until he kind of got the at-bats, the timing back. And then Profar's 80-game suspension came, and we're like, oh, yeah, well, here we go. Like, he's coming up. So Verdugo will be with the Braves. How are we feeling about the Atlanta Braves so far? I mean, I know they had a really, really tough start with a tough schedule, but how are we feeling going forward? Strider looked pretty good in his first start back.
They got no run support though. Like,
no,
story of his life. I mean, I said it last week. I'm not down on the Braves yet. They started off the season against literally the 3 or 4 hottest teams in all of baseball. they've got guys that are coming back. They got Murphy back. Strider's now back. Acuna's coming back here soon. Matt Olson was ice cold to start the year, but he usually starts off slow. Riley's really come alive. So I feel good about the Braves. I think they're going to be fine. But they've dug themselves a hell of a hole to get started. And
Yeah.
as we said, you got to make sure you don't dig the hole too deep that you can't get out of it.
Yeah.
And you lose a 3-1 game to Toronto where Strider pitches his butt off. That hurts. It hurts when you can't manage to score any runs in his return, and he's that good.
Yeah.
They got to figure it out. They got to get rolling.
Sean Murphy's not just back; he's like back. In 8 games, already got 4 home runs. Like he's just raking. Yeah, I think the Braves will be okay. Again, like we've kind of these first 2 weeks had a lot of like overreaction, right? Of just what teams look like early on. We get it's a long grind. But as fans, we like to overreact, right? I mean, that's what makes baseball fun. You'd be like, oh, like, I mean, we do the Red Sox show on Sundays before we do this show. And we're just like, oh, we love the Red Sox. We love the Red Sox. And then, Sunday we're like, man, they suck. Like it's just that's what we do as fans. We overreact to the littlest things. And, like we'll get to talk about the Red Sox a little bit later. But that's what we do. We overreact. So I think the Braves will be fine. They're getting great pieces of their team back. Again, they're like the Texas Rangers, though. Can they maintain their health throughout the year? I don't know. It's something to be seen. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't seen it. This is the second year in a row they're, battling these injuries. And it's, some of it is, legitimate injuries. Some of it is kind of fluky stuff. Chris Sale's also not been good to start the year after being really their savior last year. There's a lot of things at play here. I saw somebody post online, this is going to piss Red Sox fans off, but Alex Verdugo's gotten called up. And I'm like, why would that piss Red Sox fans off? We liked him. Like, I liked Alex Verdugo. I was sad to see him leave. And Verdugo leaving Boston was all about his relationship with Cora. It had nothing to do with him. And the fact, like, the fans didn't like him. I liked him. I was sad to see him go. So I hope he comes up to Atlanta. I hope he rakes and proves himself and latches on somewhere long term because I liked him. He was, he was the lone bright spot in that Mookie Betts trade that I know was not about trading Mookie Betts for equal value. It was about unloading him because you couldn't sign him. But, really he was the bright spot until Connor Wong finally emerged in that whole deal. So I wish him well.
Yeah, and I think his approach at the plate fits perfectly for that Braves lineup.
Totally.
Like he can fit in there, slide in there, and make a big impact for that Braves lineup. So
and he's going to get pitches to hit at the bottom of that order.
Yeah. And how did the Seattle Mariners not even take a look at this dude?
Dude,
I don't understand.
JD Martinez is still sitting on the couch. And the Seattle Mariners can't manage more than like 1 run a night. The Seattle Mariners do not want to win. They do not want to win. Yeah. I think they're just hoping somehow their pitching will carry them and they'll magically make the playoffs. But that is not an organization that's serious about winning. And I think that's the only conclusion we can come to.
1,000% with you. All right. Hunter Wendelstedt. If you have not seen this was wild. This was kind of popping up on my phone a little bit. I think it was last night and this morning. He took a foul ball straight off the side of the head. He was umpiring first base. And just gets a line shot. He like barely has time to kind of get his hand up, but it was too late. Hit him in the side to the backish part of his head. Will we see umpires start to wear helmets since base coaches are mandated now? I mean, wouldn't it make sense to at least have your base umps wear helmets?
I mean, you would have thought after this whole situation with base coaches that umpires would have followed suit, and they didn't. And I get it. Like they're moving all around the field. They don't necessarily always need it, but we've seen a lot of umpires take, whether in the middle of the field or down the lines, get hit with a lot of balls. Whether it's a thrown ball, a batted ball, they get hit enough where I would think you'd want a helmet. The base coach is sitting next to you, have them, and you're oftentimes at an angle. And like you watch Wendelstedt, like he's looking at the middle of the field, watching for a block and any movement. Ball gets hit. It takes him a split second to realize it's coming at him, and he didn't have enough time to react. Like having a helmet in that case gives you some margin for error,
right?
Which you don't have without.
Yeah. Well, and just think, it was a couple years ago where the first base ump, it was a Cardinals game, and the first base ump, comes out into the field to, get a great angle on the runner and the first baseman. And the shortstop made a great play like up the middle, and he turned and spun and he got it right in the side of the head.
Oh
Well,
yeah.
he never saw it coming because
Yep.
he's expecting the throw to be on target. And like he didn't see that one coming and still got smoked. But a helmet helps there. You know, I I think they will look at this. I mean, balls off the bat, the velocity is just getting, ridiculous. We see what O'Neal Cruz 120, Ellie De La
Yeah.
Cruz 122, John Carlos Stanton when he's healthy 185. I mean, the dude hits rockets. I mean,
Thing's
there's
got a vapor trail behind it.
that's what I'm saying. Like these guys just hit the ball so goddamn hard now that it's we've talked about pitchers possibly doing something. Like maybe it's not a skull cap, but it's got to be some sort of padding.
Well,
Pitchers getting drilled and
if you ask Lance
not
Lynn,
good.
the hat is a protective device.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd still love that one.
Still
But
one of the best clips of all time.
it is. But 120, you're 60 feet, 6 inches away as a pitcher. Actually, you're shorter than that after you're released. You're probably,
Yeah, good point.
56, 55 feet.
Yep.
At 120, I don't care how fast your reflexes are, man. You're not catching that unless it's within a 1 foot radius around your glove.
Well, and let's be serious. Wendelstedt was what, maybe 100 to 110 feet from home plate?
Yeah.
I mean, that ball
And
hit
still
95, 100 miles an hour. That gets there fast. Like, there's not a
Yes.
lot of reaction time.
No.
And I know the umpires union makes their own rules, and when MLB instituted the rules for coaches, doesn't apply to umpires. I get all that, but you would think the umpires union would say, "Hey, geez, that sounds like a good idea. Let's protect our guys." Or maybe it's not a rule, but at least like give them the option of, "Hey, guys, we got these helmets. Look good with the uniforms. Maybe you want to use them. Maybe you don't. Your call." And I do think that there would be some umpires that would say, "I'm not wearing a helmet. No way in hell." Okay, then don't. But there'll probably be some guys that would say, "You know what? I'm at first base tonight. I'll take that helmet."
Don't they all have skull caps anyways? Because
They
they're
do.
behind home plate?
Well, they do, yeah.
I, if it's me, dude, I'm protecting the noggin. I don't have much up there to begin with, but I would protect what I do have. Yeah, to me, I think it's a no-brainer at this point. And it should be almost, I know they have a union, but the league should just be like, listen, our base coaches are wearing it for this reason because they're not solely focused on the batter at all times. And you
No.
guys are watching everything on the field, right? Like you said,
Yep.
you're watching for a balk. You're watching to make sure that the infielders aren't shifted incorrectly. You're looking for a check swing. You're looking at way too many things. You're looking at the pitch
taking in a
clock.
lot.
Right. Am I in the right position to make a call? Like there's so much going. They're not always watching the pitch and watching the batter. So yeah, I think they got to do something for sure going forward. But
I mean,
we'll see.
it would make sense. It would seem silly for the umpires union to have this happen and go, business as usual. Don't worry about it, guys.
Yeah, just a fluke accident.
Yeah, like we've seen enough guys get hit. We've seen umpires up the middle take balls off the chest. We've seen them get hit many times before there. Bad throw. I mean, it happens. And if there's an opportunity to protect yourself from this, and thankfully Hunter Wendelstedt was fine, nasty bump, he's going to be okay. But at the same time, if that was a helmet, he just kind of like shakes it off and keeps going.
Yeah.
I mean, why wouldn't you?
Right. Or like you said, it was kind of like, would it have gotten the helmet? Maybe. But like, it
At least
just gives
partly.
you that. Right. Exactly. It becomes a glancing blow instead of a straight flush off the side of the head.
Yeah, I don't care who you are. 100 miles per hour to the side of the head, it friggin' hurts. Friggin' hurts.
Yeah, it hurts when it hits me in the meaty part of my leg. Like I've been drilled in the thigh on a comebacker, and it hurts. I can't imagine going straight to the head. No thanks.
Yeah, I mean that hurt. It's no different than getting hit by a pitch. And ask an MLB player how much that friggin' hurts.
Yeah, crazy. All right. Speaking of head cases, we're talking about Jorge Lopez suspended 3 games for intentionally throwing at Andrew McCutchen. Is this justified? Is it an isolated incident? Or does Lopez have, quote unquote, other things going on?
I mean, I before we went on, I'm like, this dude might be a certifiable nutcase. I mean, last time we saw him, he was in New York losing his mind, throwing his glove into the stands. Then he got released. And then he came back and he had another incident hitting somebody. I forget where it was. Now he's got this one. And apparently his beef with McCutcheon goes back to like a year ago when McCutcheon hit a bomb off of him and he didn't like the way he jogged the bases or something. Like, this is a dude. Is it justified? No. There's no reason to throw at McCutcheon's head. I mean, that ball was head high. You could say maybe it would have got him in the shoulders, maybe, but it was if it's above the numbers, I'm calling it head high.
Yep.
That was a 92-mile-per-hour fastball guided to the upper quarter of his body, so call it head high, for nothing that had to do with that game. And
No.
it was completely not unjustified. And he's lucky McCutcheon is the professional that he was and kind of was able to chill out, because I would have been furious. I do think Jorge Lopez is proving to be a bit of a loose cannon. This is a guy who just wants to pick a fight and remembers everything and wants revenge and can't control himself. And this is no longer an isolated incident. This is like the third time he's been involved in a real like dust up in the last 2 years with a hitter who he's throwing at their head. This dude is a loose cannon, and I defended him with the Mets when he got tossed and he got let go. I'm done defending Jorge Lopez. This dude is a menace.
Yeah, I'm with you 1,000%. Like, and I was with you on the Mets thing. It's like, all right, he threw his glove into the crowd after like a rough start or a rough outing, whatever. Yep. He didn't start. He comes out of the bullpen. And I'm like, okay. And then the Mets release him. I'm like, that's weird. Like, why would they release him for that? I mean, unless the Mets were just like, hey, we just don't do that. But now it's looking like he had other stuff going on because, like you said, you don't just carry this with you for a year. You're like over here on the side of your wall, just being like, okay, 4 more days till we play the Pirates, 3 more days till we play the Pirates. And then you just circle the like that's what it almost seemed like. Like he gets out.
All I can picture is a guy from Billy Madison with the crazy eyes, got the list of people he keeps crossing off. Like, that's all I can picture is Jorge Lopez at home with his notebook.
Legit. And now that he's gone up and into McCutcheon, he just puts the lipstick on and then just crosses off Andrew McCutcheon. Like, legit. I mean, man, something else has to be going on there. And I don't know, is it because he's jumped around so much to different teams? He can't get settled. He can't, because he came from Miami initially, right?
Yep.
He was on Miami, then he went to the Twins, then he went to New York. Then
seems like everywhere.
Everywhere. And I mean I'm not giving him a reason or justification to be like this, but if you're not settled in one place and you're, kind of pitching for your job every year, like, what are you doing? Like, why are you doing this? Something has to be up.
Yeah, this guy's been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He's played on 8 different teams in 10 years.
Yeah.
That's not a real good.
He was with the Orioles one time, right? He was with the Orioles for a little bit.
He was in Baltimore for 4 seasons, parts of 4 seasons, KC for parts of 3, Milwaukee for parts of 3, Minnesota for parts of 2, the Mets for 1, Cubs for 1, Marlins for 1, Washington for 1.
But I was the Orioles that I was thinking of, not the Marlins, because he went to the Twins from the Orioles. That's right.
Yes. Yeah. He started off in Milwaukee, KC, then to Baltimore, then to Minnesota.
Yeah. Because it was a weird trade at the time for the Orioles. I remember, because we were like, wait, why would they get rid of their closer at that point? The Orioles did to Minnesota when he got traded.
Yeah. Well, and what's weird too is that this is a guy who like hit nobody in his first 4 seasons. Then he hit 10 guys in 2019. He hit 10 guys in 21. He hit 3 in the shortened 2020. He hit 7 in 22. And he's consistently hit 7, 8 guys a season. And he doesn't pitch a lot of innings.
No.
I think he is a certifiable loose cannon, and this is just who he is. And I don't know if he thinks if it gives him an edge to be such a wild man out there, but I have no interest in guys that want to throw fastballs at people's heads. Like, you want to hit a guy, you hit him in the numbers. Hit him in the leg, hit him in the numbers. You don't hit him in the head. You don't go head hunting.
Hey, Harrison, do you remember June 24th, 2021? You took me deep to right center. Yeah, next
Yeah.
time I see you in 5 years, I'm gonna drill you in the head.
Yeah,
Like,
and you
it
jog
just
the bases in 22.7 seconds, not your usual 21. You're
yeah.
going down. You get 92 to the ear flap, buddy.
Who was the pitcher from KC several years ago who was like this? He was a starter.
KC.
I
Mm,
don't
I'll
know.
go back and look. I'm not nobody jumps out. I mean, Greinke was always a bit of a wild card, but
Yeah, but
that
he
wouldn't
can't
be
even break a pane of glass, so it's
like throw the Ephus pitch in your ear flap. Um,
I don't
there,
know. I'm trying to think.
like I can think back to like Yordano Ventura, R.I.P. He had some moments, but that was 10 years
Yeah,
ago.
I bet that's who he's thinking of. Because he was wild
But
and
yeah,
he would let you know. It was definitely him. I'm pretty sure that's who he's
yeah.
talking about.
Yordano Ventura would have moments where he would just lose it. And
Lose it.
man, can you
Yeah.
believe that Brent Rooker was on the Royals and they'd let him go?
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. I can almost guarantee it was Giordano Ventura because he had a lot of hot
He did.
moments on the mound. Yeah,
He did.
Giordano Ventura brawls the first thing that pops up as soon as I put it into Google.
He had some moments, and the dude threw hard, and he was not afraid to throw. He so badly wanted to be Pedro and scare the hell out of batters.
Yeah, it was the Manny Machado brawl when he was with
Oh,
the
that was a good one.
Orioles
Yeah,
in 2016. That's exactly who Captain has to be talking about. And then he died in a car accident, right? In the Dominican?
yes, I believe so. After
Yeah.
they won the World Series, right?
Yes, I believe so. Yeah, it was him. Yeah. Nice.
I think so.
Nice pull, Harrison.
Look at that.
And
I
then as
earned
soon
this hat tonight.
that's right. Yeah,
Okay,
as
yeah,
soon as
yeah, it was him.
yeah, as soon as you said the name, I go, "Oh yeah, dude." I remember him being a loose
Yeah, he's the
cannon.
only guy I
So,
could think of that had that streak and was
yeah.
not afraid to pick a fight with anybody.
No. And he was nasty because him and Jose Fernandez kind of burst onto the scene at the
Yep.
same time and we're like these two are the next like Cy Young like string of Cy Young awards coming and unfortunately tragically lost both of them too soon, but
Yeah, January
crazy.
22nd, 2017, car accident in the Dominican. He was 25.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
guy was 25 with 4 major league seasons under his belt.
Yeah. And Fernandez was
So
he
good.
wasn't oh dude, that one hurts. He yeah, 24. God dang, man.
Yeah, it's his lot. Ventura's was. I mean, you had just kind of gotten over Fernandez, and then Ventura happened. It was like, oh crap.
Yeah, because Fernandez's last full season was 2016.
Yep.
So he passed away September 25th of 2016. That's right. It was that season.
Yeah, you had just
Because
got over Fernandez, and then a few months later you lost Ventura, and it was like, holy
that's
crap,
right.
two young stud pitchers in less than 6 months
Yeah.
to accidents. Just
What?
wild.
Yeah. I mean, I know Fernandez's was an accident, but it was a
Well, yeah,
self-inflicted kind
Fernandez
of accident.
was a young guy doing stupid stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the belief is that Ventura might have been the same. He lost control of the vehicle, rolled it, probably speeding, the typical stuff these guys do because they're young and bulletproof.
Yeah. All right. Whew. Good one. All right. Paul Scanes and Henry Davis become the first battery to be made up of overall number one draft picks. I found this kind of interesting in like all the history of the MLB. This is the first time that we've had two number one draft picks be battery. I thought that was pretty crazy.
It amazes me. You think of all the guys that would fit that mold, and none of them have done it. And then you've got. I kind of forgot about Henry Davis. He was the first pick in 2021, and then
Yeah.
he got kind of lost. He was their top prospect there for a little bit. Then he got kind of lost when Skeens got drafted and took over the attention. But this is the guy that was like unbelievably good coming out of Louisville, and then kind of got forgotten about because Skeens burst onto the scene.
Well, yeah. So yeah, pretty cool. And that's pretty much all the Pirates have going for them. Moving on.
Yeah, I mean the
All right.
Pirates. There's nothing to talk about with the Pirates at all. Like nothing positive. It's sad. This is a team that's 8-12, minus 18 run differential.
They
There's
won today, 1-0 on an O'Neal Cruz solo shot.
yeah,
That's it.
there's nothing compelling about the Pirates, and I've watched a few of their games lately, and they're not they're just kind of a mess. Like it's a team. It's a lineup that's got so much talent that just can't get anything done. You got Brian Reynolds and Brian Hayes and Skeens and Davis. Like you got O'Neal Cruz. You got all these names, and you can't put anything together.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Next.
next.
Yeah. I get you.
It's so sad to see the
It is.
Pirates have a once proud franchise has just continued to fall and fall for like a decade.
Yeah. I,
Like they were bad, and now they're like really bad,
yeah. And they
even
shouldn't.
with all that young talent.
Yeah. Crazy.
It's
I
dumb.
mean, Jared Jones being on the 60-day IL hurts a lot. That's another stud pitcher
Yeah,
that was looking to make an impact, but
yeah,
I don't
agreed.
know. All right. I'm with Captain. Next.
Yeah, moving on.
All right. Roman Anthony is destroying AAA right now. He just hit an opposite field grand slam the other day, last night. How much longer until he forces the Red Sox to make a move and make a roster spot for him? And then what do they do to clear the spot? Like the Red Sox are stacked up right now. There's a lot of talent at the major league level in his positions. What do the Red Sox do to move pieces around to get Anthony on this team?
I don't I don't I don't know what to do with Anthony right now because there's a lot of good and there's also a lot of question marks still with him. Um and there's still things they want to see they haven't seen yet. They still want to see him hit lefties better. They still want to see him um become more competent and comfortable in the outfield. They still want to see him string together more at bats. Um and he's 20. Like it's it's one of those things where as much as he's like tearing AAA apart, and he is, I mean, the last week he's blown up. He did not get off to a great start, and then he's just all of a sudden exploded. But I do think, his exit velocity is the highest, the barrel rates are the highest. Like he's by far the best hitter in the system. Period. End of story. I think it's
He's
too early to
he's
force the issue,
yeah.
but it's coming. And we said this early on in the offseason is let's hope the young guys play great and force the Red Sox to make some decisions. Because unfortunately, Marcelo Meyer is blocked right now by Campbell and Trevor Story. You've got Roman Anthony is blocked by Rafael and Abreu. He's about to be blocked by Massa also. And he doesn't have positional flexibility. I mean, he's an outfielder. He's never played the infield. He's
Yeah.
never seen anything else. Like you can't, we were laughing, do you put him at first base? Well, no, you can't realistically put him at first base. He's never played the infield.
Yeah.
He can't read it. He can't read a ground ball. He can't field the position. He can't make the flip to the pitcher. He doesn't know the footwork. Doesn't know the cutoffs. Doesn't know the trail runners. Like he's got. If this was February, sure, then you put him at first base, see what he can do. You could give this guy a chance. And could he learn it? Sure, but you
Yeah.
can't learn it in Boston on the fly.
Yeah, it's a different animal. I get it.
Yeah.
So Roman Anthony's barrel rate right now is 38.7%, which is better than most major league players had in 2024.
Yeah, Aaron Judge right now leads MLB with like a 21% barrel rate.
Yeah.
I mean, and granted, it's AAA. Like it's not Major League Baseball, and there's a huge leap
Right.
when you go from there. But
Massive leap.
his advanced metrics are ridiculous.
Yeah. So let's play.
Yeah,
that's a fair point.
First. He did, but if you remember, his first year was rough, and the Red Sox cannot live with a guy who's learning on the fly. And you're right. Everyone does think first base is easy. First base, you're involved in most every play. Whether it's a ground ball throw to you, a ball to the outfield, if it's more than a single, you're trailing guys a second, you're working double cuts. I mean, there's a lot to first base. It's not just a matter of I stand there and they throw the ball to me.
Right.
You've got to know when you can go after a ball, when you can't go after a ball. You got to know who the pitcher is, where the positioning is, how far you can stray. There's a lot to. I mean, I played first for several years. It was how I rested my arm between pitching. and it it was not easy. Like I learned it on the fly through AAU travel ball and a little bit in college, and I learned it on the fly. And it was hard. It's a hard position because it requires more than just taking up space.
Yeah.
You've got to think a lot at first base because there's a lot of plays you're involved in.
All right, though. You're the GM right now. Roman Anthony shows up in Boston tomorrow. What are you doing with the roster to get him on the roster?
If I am Craig Breslow right now and I have to get and John picking balls, like that's the hardest part of first base. The guys that are good at that are wild.
Not
And
not
see,
here talking about baseball. That's
yeah,
what they're
right.
not.
Well, and you look at a guy like Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper moved to first base, but he also spent months while hurt working on the footwork and positioning.
Yeah.
Anthony doesn't have that luxury. And Bryce Harper is not he's a serviceable first baseman. He's not great. He's good.
Yeah.
A lot of guys around the league are only good. The days of those guys like Paul Merrow and JT Snow and all that are gone. Those defensive wizards are gone.
Yeah.
But if I'm Craig Breslow and I have to bring him up, I am sending Casas and Masa Yoshida to the Mariners, hoping to get a guy like Brian Wu in return. I am probably moving Alex Bregman to first. I'm moving Christian Campbell to third. I'm putting Rafaela at second base, and I'm putting Roman Anthony in the outfield because that way everybody's somewhere they could play.
Bregman at first, though, that one hurts.
You could put Campbell over there. He's just too small a target. But
yeah,
he could do it. You could leave Bregman at third, put Campbell at first, and get the same outcome. Rafaela's too short. You can't put him at first. He's a little dude.
Yeah. Yeah, man, I don't know.
I'm trying to make that work.
Yeah, I think it's definitely the package that has to go is Casas and Masataka Yoshida. There's just nowhere for them to play. When Yoshida comes back from whatever he's doing, if he's even back yet, I don't even know.
He's not. He's still in Florida.
Yeah, I don't know where he plays. I don't know where he plays. Rafi's your DH. You're not going to put Yoshida in the outfield. He's got a 5-foot range to each side, if that.
I mean, and that's the only place you can play him is left field and hope for the best.
The other kind of rumor that's been floated around is Rafaela could also be one of the names in the trade. Would you trade Rafaela if Anthony comes up?
I mean, if somebody calls me and says, I don't want Costas, I want Rafaela, and I'll take Yoshida, I would do that deal too. As everything that Rafaela does for you, he is a guy you can find again. You can find another guy like Rafaela. You're not going to find another Roman Anthony. He is your Juan Soto. He is your potential Aaron Judge. Like he is your future.
Rafaela reminds me a lot of Jackie Bradley Jr. defensively. Yep. Yes, like Jackie Bradley Jr. couldn't play infield like Rafaela can. I get that point, but he is elite defensively. He had made first pitch of the game, I think Bueller threw the other night. He makes a sliding catch into the bullpen wall in deep right center.
That catch was so good.
Insane catch. He saves a bloop single in Tampa the other night to preserve that win over there. I mean, he's great defensively. Offensively, I think is where he struggles a little bit. He can be streaky. He can get hot. Just like every player in MLB.
He's not a great hitter. I mean, and he probably won't ever be, although he had a great finish to last year. I think the Red Sox were hoping would carry over, and it really hasn't.
Yeah. But for me, I think Rafaela, Casas, and Yoshida could go. Abreu, untouchable. I think Cora would walk out the door and quit immediately if Abreu got traded. Because he's come out and he loves that kid. So I think
he's a gamer.
Yeah, and I mean, you would have to get like a bona fide ace if you're sending Abreu out.
Well, and maybe Abreu goes in a package and you bring back somebody bigger. Maybe it's not Brian Wu. Maybe it's Luis Castillo. Maybe it's a different name that goes in a Wilyer Abreu package.
It's a Logan Gilbert that's coming over if it's for Abreu.
You could trade the whole team. You're not getting Logan Gilbert.
I don't care.
Shot.
But that's my point. I'm not trading Wilyer Abreu unless I get that caliber of pitcher. That's my point.
Yeah, I would trade Abreu for less than that. But I wouldn't settle for any like scrub.
I would not. Sorry. All right. Moving on to Manny Machado and the Cubs. So this happened the other night. I was watching the game. It was a 5-minute circus, is really
It
what
was
it
a
turned out to be.
disaster.
Machado gets up, hits kind of an in-betweener down the right field line in foul territory. Tucker goes over, should have had it, hits off the heel of his glove, rolls right up his pocket, flips out, drops the ball. Same at bat, Manny Machado hits one straight up the chute. Third baseman comes in, first baseman comes in, catcher spins around 2 or 3 times, pitcher comes in, and finally, last second, yep, third baseman comes in and like overruns it, and it like handcuffs him, and he drops it, lands foul.
It was bad news bears.
It's terrible. Machado then fouls off the next 4, 5, 6 pitches. Like, it was a great at bat.
It was awesome.
And then he just absolutely unloads on one. You just can't give a great hitter like Machado that many chances to hurt you, because he's gonna. And I mean, the Padres still ended up losing this game. I think it was like 2-1 or 3-2, something like that.
Yeah, that Padres Cubs series was a really good one.
It was fun to watch. But it was just one of the craziest and wackiest at bats I've seen in a while. But it was pretty cool.
It was the Cubs. You know, we said this earlier. The Cubs defensively are rough. I thought they'd be better defensively. They are not good defensively. They struggle. And we've seen a lot of, we've seen Jose Ramirez struggle defensively. We've seen a lot of guys struggle defensively early on, but like the whole Cubs team has struggled. The whole Red Sox team has struggled. You've seen so many just like circus plays.
Yeah. Well, let's get into it, because I literally put this on the next slide, because it has been an absolute, I don't even have the word for it out there. So with the emphasis on drop and drive at the plate and hitting in general, do you think the quality of fielding around the league has dropped? So there's been 258 errors league-wide so far, and that's through Wednesday. So I didn't have today's in. The Red Sox lead the league with 19 errors. 5 in one game.
It was brutal.
Yeah.
Like little league baseball.
Do you think the quality of fielding has decreased in the last few years?
I absolutely think it has. I think teams are prioritizing hitting over fielding, and you've got guys out there that are playing defensive positions. Look at Rafi Devers, who's finally now a DH. I think teams are willing to accept the defensive shortcomings for the better bat, because this is becoming an offensive game. You're not going to win a lot of games 2-1 because you played stellar defense anymore. You're going to win a lot of games 8-6 because you got to outslug the other side. This is not baseball in the 80s and early 90s where, you know, the defensive specialists were valuable. You know, you look at these teams' benches. You've got a guy that can run, 2 guys that can hit, and maybe 1 guy who's like a utility guy, but none of them are defensive specialists. Like there were teams that used to carry that 1 guy who would come in and play, you know, the outfield, and he'd come in the 8th inning and he'd be there for defensive purposes only.
Dwayne Wise.
Yeah, exactly. Those guys are gone. That's not a spot anymore, because teams want the bats. They need the bats. And the defense is, you know, just don't kill us out there. But we're okay. I mean, Manny Machado made an error the other night on the ball that one hopped. He kind of waved at, and it hit off his glove and went to the outfield. And he just kind of like shook his head. He was like, wow. But the ball was roasted. I mean, the ball was roasted. A play he usually makes, but of course, a ball hit that hard, it hits the ground. You never know what's going to happen.
Right.
So I do think his exit velos are up. You're also seeing those defensive plays. You know, they're getting balls hit at them a lot harder. You're seeing a lot of like third baseman and shortstop playing deeper. They're starting on the grass in some cases, and creeping in as the pitcher winds, because guys are just absolutely hammering the ball at them.
Yeah.
And I don't care who you are. 120 mile per hour ground ball is not a fun thing to try to go field.
Yeah. No, thanks. I'm fielding it off to the side too. I don't care what you say.
Yeah.
Call me all the names you want. I'm not putting my chest in front of that.
Right. So I think there's a combination of teams are prioritizing offense over defense, and where guys are hitting the ball so much harder, it's just harder to field it too.
Yeah. I'm with you. I think that, you know, all the metrics that are out there now, right? Batting war, defensive war, all that stuff. I'm going to take a guy that has a defensive war of negative, I don't know, 1.5, let's say. But his offensive war, his batting war, is a 4.6. Yeah, that cancels out. So he ends up being what, a 2.75? I don't know. I'm not a math weight, but something like that. He still
Yeah,
has a positive war. I'm still going to take it because
look at
I get
Aaron.
those runs back.
Yeah, look at Aaron Judge and Juan Soto last year. They were a 10 war and an 8 war respectively, but they had like negative 1 or 2 defensive war.
Yeah.
And that's totally fine now.
Yeah.
It's the way the game is.
Yep. I agree.
You know, you're not going to win games with defense anymore. You're winning games because you can outscore the other team.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, totally.
You're not wrong, man. For sure.
And that's where players like, you know, the Miguel Rojas's of the world and, you know, Stephen Kwan. I mean, Cody Bellinger.
Jose Iglesias.
Cody Bellinger made a great diving catch last night to preserve the Yankees win late in the game.
Yeah.
And, you know, Bellinger's a Gold Glover. You know, this is a guy who can play some defense. And it's not even in the highlight reel. It's the home runs that were hit earlier in the game. Like, people don't even care about the defense anymore.
Yeah. And there are still guys that are, you know, elite defenders out
for
there.
sure.
We're not saying that. I'm just saying overall, have we, you know, seen a decline? I mean, I remember watching baseball back in the, you know, 90s when I got home from school. Like, we talk about it all the time. WGN was on. Like, it was rare to see an error. Rare. You maybe saw 2 or 3 a week. Like, it was just defense was a priority then. And now, like, you know, the box scores are, you know, the runs, hits, errors box is like, you know, 8 runs, 10 hits, 4 errors. And it's common. And you're like, what the heck? What a sloppy game.
I was watching the Dodgers Rockies game last night. After 2 innings, there were 2 errors for the Rockies and 1 for the Dodgers. I'm like, there's 3 errors after 2 innings.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah, that game was wild last night. That was insane.
The game was nuts, but it was also sloppy as hell.
Yeah. But I feel like that's kind of what it's been to start the year. Like, it's all around. Almost every game that I see, you know, I see outfielders overthrowing cutoff guys and, you know, a runner's trying to go first or third and they're not keeping the guy off second. They're just airmailing it to third. And then the guy from first goes to second. So now you got 2 runners in scoring position. Just seems like a lot of fundamental baseball isn't being played.
Oh man, I miss the days of the web gems on Baseball Tonight.
Oh yeah,
those are my favorite. I could watch defensive highlights forever. I'm done. I've seen so many home runs. I don't need to see more, but show me the defensive highlights.
Oh yeah, Jim Edmonds reel on repeat, please.
Oh yeah, I mean crazy.
I mean, yeah.
But I think you're getting at another issue that's and it kind of runs parallel to this is that besides the errors, just the overall quality of defense is so much worse. You've got guys like you were mentioning that, you know, they can't turn 2. They miss the cutoff guy.
Yeah.
You know, you're missing these opportunities for other outs or to put yourself in a better position because it wasn't an error, but you are unable to perform or unable to play defense at a level that you'd expect from major leaguers. So you have all these other issues that compound. They're not errors in the box score, but they're costing your team runs.
Right.
And it gets worse and worse. And I mean, I look at, you know, the Red Sox the other night, you know, Sean Newcomb he's cruising. The defense implodes. He gives up 6 runs, only 2 of them earned, and he's out of there in 4 innings. And now you're into the bullpen. The Red Sox lose to the White Sox. They get blown out 11-1.
Yeah.
You completely ruin an entire game.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're seeing that more and more. It's crazy.
Brutal.
Repo Altuve, I think his initial move to left field was because I think the Astros were hoping to re-sign Bregman. So Bregman would have stayed at third, which would have moved Isak Paredes over to second base, which kind of leaves no spot for Altuve. I think he's playing second base now more than left at this point.
Yeah, he's back and forth. I think Cam Smith is jumping in and out. And I think ultimately Altuve did win a Gold Glove. He's been an average defender the last couple of years, but I do think the long-term plan is to get him into the outfield so they can open up infield spots for some younger guys that are coming up like Cam Smith. They can keep Paredes.
Yeah.
So I think the intent was if you resign Bregman, it's you've got an opening, but in the meantime, you got young kids coming up who need that spot. So maybe you can find a way to get them to left field, but it's been brutal.
Yeah. Yeah. Edmonds, Vizquel, Pudge. I mean, those guys were ridiculous.
I mean, every night.
So
I
many.
mean, I used to watch Web Gems religiously.
Yeah. I mean, even when Dalton Varsho was with the
Oh, yeah.
Diamondbacks, his highlight reel out there was ridiculous. He got to everything out there.
Yeah.
But
Well,
I mean, there's so many great guys.
and knock on wood, like usually for the Red Sox, I mean, I would say a lot of the Red Sox errors have been in the infield, which is a lot of reasons for that. But that Red Sox outfield is pretty solid.
It is.
Those guys cover a ton of ground and
Yep.
make pretty much all the plays.
Yeah, agree.
But most teams, not so much.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of sloppy play, I saw this the other day. I was like, oh my God, this is nuts. So Albuquerque Isotopes scored 3 runs on a bases loaded walk. So stick with me here. First run scored on the walk, and then the runner on second scored rounding third. So the pitcher gets the ball back, turns, starts walking back to the mound, and the guy on second just didn't stop. He just kept going. And by the time the catcher realized what was going on, the pitcher had no clue. He's already 3/4 the way home. So meantime, the guy on first was already to second. He breaks to third because the pitcher put his head down. The pitcher then airmails the throw over the third baseman, and the third runner scored. It was just absolute chaos. But I just never seen that. It was crazy. 3 runs on a bases loaded walk.
Yeah, I just put a link to a video of it in the chat for people to look at. I mean, we've seen before the guy at second who just like keeps going and scores. Like we've seen that a few times when a pitcher puts their head down and they get the ball back and they're walking back, grumbling. But this was insane. He comes in easy, then the ball gets thrown over third, overthrown. The other guy comes in, like it was absolute utter chaos. But it goes back to when you put pressure on a defense, that's when mistakes happen.
Yep.
And that chaos and speed, it kills. Like it kills teams. And there is a walk that that cost you 4 runs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or sorry, 3 runs because the guy at first didn't make it all the way around.
No. That would have been even crazier.
That's
pitchers aren't athletes.
3 runs on a walk. Well, and they used to be. Remember the days of Greg Maddux and like those guys could all field their position. Now these guys, every time I see a ball hit back to the pitcher, I'm afraid of where they're going to throw it.
Oh yeah, they throw it 150 miles an hour to the first baseman that short hops them and they can't pick it out.
Or they throw it 75 feet in the air with a lob, and it's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, seriously, that's why they're called. Yep. That's why they're called the isotopes. Yes, and all the scientific research out there in New Mexico. Yep, absolutely. Pretty cool. All right, time for a little trivia, Harrison.
Here we go.
It's a little bit different tonight. So here's the first one. Who's the only player to play for only the Tampa Bay Rays and the Arizona Diamondbacks in their career? Only one player has done it. And they're current.
Oh. Because my original thought when you're reading it was Evan Longoria, but he stopped in San Francisco for a little while too, didn't he?
Right. Yeah, so that doesn't count. So only played for these two. And he still plays for one of the two at this moment.
He's current. All right. So who is in?
It's a relief pitcher.
Oh, okay. With the Diamondbacks now?
Yes, sir.
Oh boy, I wish I knew the Diamondbacks bullpen better than I do.
You should know this guy because he was with Tampa for a while. And he's got a funky-ish delivery.
Is this the side armor?
Yes, it is.
And I'm not going to remember his name. It's like Thomas. It's
You're so close. I'm going to give it to you. It's Ryan Thompson.
Oh yeah, the side armor. Yep.
Yeah.
I remember he's with the Rays for a while.
Yeah. All right. So now this next one that I'm going to give you is a list of players, and you have to give me the 3 teams that they all had played for at some point in their career.
Oh, dear Lord. Okay.
Okay. So what 3 franchises did these players all play for? Miguel Cairo, Dylan Floro, Diana Navarro, Dave Martinez, and Brooks Raley.
Is the first one Tampa?
Tampa Bay is one.
The only one that jumps out is Cincinnati.
Yep, the Reds.
Oh, and the third one. Navarro. Houston?
Nope, good guess.
What
Stay in the NL Central.
Not the Cubs. Cardinals?
It is the Cubs.
What is the Cubs?
It is the
I don't
Cubs.
remember Navarro or Martinez with the Cubs.
Yeah, it is the Cubs.
Yeah, the Rays jumped right out at me. The
Yeah.
Reds, I was pretty sure of. I did not have the Cubs on my radar. If you get this,
If you get this, I'll crap my pants. Yeah.
I didn't. I got 2 out of the 3, so I'll take that as good enough.
Yeah, yeah. Some of these are tough. All right, here is the next one. Which 3 franchises did these players all play for? Craig Kimbrell, David Ross, Jonathan Lucroy, Kent Merker, Ray Sanchez, Julian Tavares.
The Red Sox?
Red Sox is one.
Okay. I don't remember Ray Sanchez with the Red Sox. I remember Tavares. I remember all the other guys. Oh, I remember Sanchez. It was a short time though.
Yep.
The Brewers jumped out, but I don't think that's right. Because I think Lucroy makes you think Brewers. Red Sox. Cubs again?
Cubs again. Yep. Good. Good guess, Texas Repo. Not the Angels.
Oh, yeah. Good one.
So we got Red Sox and Cubs.
And because of Merker and Ross, I think Braves.
It is the Braves, Harrison. Nice job. Braves, Red Sox, and Cubs. Nice work. All right. And the last one I have for this. Which 3 franchises did these players all play for? Frank Catalanato, Gabe Kapler, Joaquim Soria, Neftali Feliz, and Matt Stairs.
All right. There's 3 that come to mind. It's Brewers, Rangers, Phillies.
Brewers and Rangers are correct, but not
No
Phillies.
Okay. So Brewers and Rangers. Tigers?
It is Tigers.
Ah.
Man, you crushed
Look
this.
at that.
Man, you crushed this one.
Wow.
Nice,
Well, that one,
man.
there's a couple of guys that like just like I remember the sequence.
Yeah.
If you can find 1 or 2 of those guys, then you can usually chase it through.
There was one guy I couldn't put on this list that would have absolutely give it away. Can you guess who it would have been?
Brewers, Tigers, Rangers. So
I mean, it would have been a big
Prince.
giveaway. Prince Fielder, yeah.
Yeah, because I went to VMart. I'm like, no, only Detroit.
Yeah. But
good guesses in the chat. Guys are all close.
Texas Brewers and Giants. Yeah, Giants was a good guess too.
Yeah, good guess, Captain.
2 out of 3. All right. Harrison.
All right. My favorite, who is that guy? All right. So I got 4 for you, Nick. I think these are all pretty gettable, but we're gonna see.
All right.
So let's do it. All right. Played for 13 seasons between 1993 and 2006. Played for the Pirates, D-backs, Rockies, Cubs, Cardinals, Yankees, and Reds. 1-time All-Star, 2001 World Series champion, best known for being a 3-time NL stolen base leader, and the D-backs single season steals leader with 72. Who is that guy?
Oh, that is Tony Womack.
That is absolutely Tony Womack. I used to love watching him play.
Yeah.
So Tony Womack, career average of 273, 36 home runs, 368 RBIs, 363 steals, and all that for a career 2.5 WAR.
Man, I would have thought his WAR would have been 3.6 with everything else. He got 36 homers.
I know.
368, 363. Like, just keep it going.
Following the trend down.
Yeah, right. Yeah, good one. Tony Womack. 72 steals. I forgot about that one.
Yeah. No, forgot. Cap'n got it in the chat.
Yeah, nice. Good one.
Yep. Used to love Womack. Guy could fly.
Yep. All
right. Played for 14 seasons between 1991 and 2004. Played for the Blue Jays, Orioles, and Cardinals. 3-time All-Star, 1-time Cy Young, 1993 World Series champ, Best known for being the first ever Blue Jays pitcher to win the Cy Young. Who is that guy?
That's Steve, right? No. Pat Henkin?
Pat Henkin.
Pat Henkin.
That is Pat Henkin. Career record of 131 and 112, 4.32 ERA, 1,290 Ks, 32.6 WAR.
Yeah, I didn't think the time frame was right for Steve, so I was like,
Yep.
yeah.
I always forget how, like, I always remember Pat Henkin with the Blue Jays because I watched him pitch against the Red Sox for years. I always forget how good he was for a stretch and then how kind of mediocre he was for most of the rest of his career.
Yeah, for sure.
But definitely a guy who was big in Toronto for that when they were winning.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Whew.
Yeah, get ready for this one. Played for 18 seasons between 1992 and 2012. He missed a couple of seasons with injuries. Played for the Pirates, Marlins, Cubs, Expos, Royals, D-backs, Blue Jays, Mariners, Nationals, Cardinals, Mets, and Braves. 2001 World Series champion. Best known for being a published author after his baseball career. Who is that guy?
Oh man, I know who this is for sure.
All right, what do you got?
Miguel Batista.
That is absolutely our boy Miguel Batista.
Yeah.
Miguel Batista, career record of 102 and 115, a 4.48 ERA, 1,250 Ks, and a 12.6 WAR. A guy who was always criticized for not really caring that much about baseball.
Yeah. I kind of want to read the book now. I'm interested.
Yeah, he wrote a children's book and then he wrote a book of poetry or something. He's
so
published a couple of times.
So it's on my reading level is what you're saying. The children's
Yeah,
book?
you totally get it. Totally be in your wheelhouse.
Okay. Yeah.
I think pictures and everything.
Oh, perfect.
But I remember it was might have been 2001 when they won the World Series that they showed a picture of the clubhouse, and like most of these guys, like in their locker, they have all these like baseball things. He had a picture of Albert Einstein.
Yeah.
And like he was a deep thinker, like baseball wasn't that important to him. He was, and at times like he lost interest and would just like check out.
Yeah.
But he could also throw 90, 95 plus. So you got to make
there was stretches where he was pretty filthy too.
He was for a few years there, he was gross, but for most of his career, he just kind of like bounced around trying to find a place because he was, again, one of those guys who was like just always good enough to get a call and hang on, but never good enough to get much of a commitment. But after he left Arizona, he signed a longer term deal and then was terrible. And then just tried to hang on after that.
Yeah. All right. We got one more, right?
Weird career. One more. All right. I love this player. Played for 14 seasons between 1995 and 2008. Played for the Blue Jays, Twins, and A's. One-time top 5 MVP candidate and one-time 200-hit season. He's best known for being the only Blue Jay to hit 2 inside-the-park home runs in a season in 1998. Who is that guy?
Oh my goodness, I should totally know who this is.
And you do know who this is.
Oh my God.
Come on, chat. Help him out.
Oh man. This one's gonna kill me. Number 23.
He was good in Toronto. He was really good in Minnesota too. I know you know him, and you're gonna hate him when we flip to the next slide. Oh, good guess. Not Devon White.
Not Devon White. That is a good guess.
He is between Devon White and Vernon Wells.
Oh my God, man. This is killing me.
Yeah, he was right between Devon White and Vernon Wells.
Oh my God.
He's got what is generally believed to be a female's first name.
Oh, Shannon Stewart.
Oh, and he makes the pull.
Oh, dude, I should have known that.
Average of 297, 115 home runs, 580 RBIs, and a 24.9 WAR.
I hate this game.
Yeah, I love this game.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I had to get his first round pick top select card because he looks like he's 12 in the
God,
picture.
God, man. I knew his face. I knew the stance. I just could not pull the name without
Yep,
thinking,
he was right
Shannon.
between Devon White and Vernon Wells. He passed the
Oh
baton.
man. Yeah.
Devon
Shannon
White passed
Stewart.
it to him. He passed it to Vernon Wells, and they continued that progression of center fielders.
Yeah.
Um,
Dang, man. Good one. That was a great one.
yeah, I loved watching Shannon Stewart play. He could do a lot of good. And then Vernon Wells came in and was the same player basically,
Yeah.
but was successful for longer.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But great guesses in chat with Devon White because
Oh yeah,
he's
he's
right sandwiched in between them.
yeah. Man. Yeah, especially with an inside the park home run guess
Yep.
too. But man.
Yeah.
Yeah, his glove looked huge. Yeah, it looked like one of those fake ones that you like oversized.
Yeah, well, it was back in the day
Man.
when these guys would be in the outfield with like a 13 or 14-inch glove. They were monstrous,
Yeah. Yeah. Crazy.
absolutely monstrous.
Man, oh man. Yeah, those are fun. So yeah, just a little quick trivia segment tonight. We'll have our bigger trivia segments are usually Sunday nights.
Yep.
But yeah, just little filler there, a little break in the action there. So
Yeah. And now's the part of the program where we kind of hang out and just talk a little baseball and see what chat's
yeah.
got on their mind. And any good games on right now? I haven't even looked.
No, I think they're all done.
That's what I thought. Thursday nights are tough because
Thursday
it's a
nights.
short schedule.
Yep. Yeah. So yeah, I didn't watch any games today. This is the first. I mean, I'm gonna go back and watch the Diamondbacks probably tonight.
Yeah, I've been watching a lot of like if I missed a game, I'll go back and I'll watch either
Yeah.
the replay or the condensed version of it to get all the highlights.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm a little
Could,
upset because my Royals have been on a bit of a streak here.
yeah. Cattell Marte took live batting practice today, but he still hasn't even ran yet. So
Ooh,
like
well,
he's still like weeks out. They're
yeah.
saying he's
So
not going to be ready anytime soon.
he's staying sharp, but he's not
running.
not coming back yet.
Yeah. Because so talking about prospects, I've brought up Jordan Lawler a couple times.
Yep.
So he's actually doing really well in, I think it's Albuquerque. I think is their AAA team. Could be wrong. I can't remember.
That sounds right.
But I think he's got, where is it on his prospect page or on the baseball reference page?
There we go.
Anyways,
14-inch glove. Yeah.
was it 14? Is that what it said?
Captain was saying he's got his outfield glove and it's 14 inches. That was the standard there for a long time. I think a lot of outfielders still go with the 13-inch model, but for a while there, these guys, I swear to God, all had 14-inch plus models. They were huge. Gloves are massive.
Yeah. Oh, he's with the Reno Aces is their AAA team.
Reno, right?
Yeah. But right now he's got 3 home runs. He's knocked in a few. He's doing all right, but they were thinking that he could possibly come up. Well, Marte is out for an extended period of time, but it's not looking that way. They've got some other guy that's kind of just filling that void because they're probably playing that service time game as most teams.
I'm sure they're gonna slow play it.
Yeah.
So Nick, when you played third base, what size glove did you use? Were you a small glove guy or a big glove guy?
I was 11 and a half.
So was I. 11 and a half, 11 3/4. I like the smaller glove.
Yeah, I was 11 and a half. I had a Goldsmith glove. I loved Goldsmith. But yeah, I think I had my white Goldsmith glove that when you came into college there.
Yeah, I remember the white glove.
Yeah.
I had the Wilson A2000. I still have it today. I'm coaching my son's baseball, and I still have my old Wilson A2000 glove from high school, college.
Yeah.
But I think that one's 11 3/4. I went a hair larger, but I was always a smaller glove.
Yeah, I was always 11 and a half. I never went smaller than that. I never went bigger than that because it was still a long enough webbing where I could get to balls down the line, but also I could find the ball quickly out of my glove.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
especially
third base, the glove's almost optional. Just got to knock the thing down half the time.
Yeah. I pride myself on how quick my hands were back in the day. Like I loved just get rid of it.
Yeah, I was always the
But
guy who played basically, baseline or grass. I didn't play
same.
deep. I didn't like to play deep.
No.
I was reaction.
Yep. Same.
So,
Yeah.
so a couple of interesting headlines here. I want to talk some news, and we got Captain in the chat still. So, Oregon Senate has voted overwhelmingly for an $800 million jock tax to help fund the Major League ballpark. So they are going to the jock tax. For anybody that doesn't know, when these guys play in all these different states, they're paying taxes in all the places they perform. So when you think when you're a professional athlete and you're playing and performing in all these different states, whatever portion of the season you play in the states, you pay a pro rata version of income tax to them. So Oregon is now instituting that where they're going to have this jock tax. So if Oregon gets a major league team and you travel to Oregon to play there, you're going to pay them income tax for the games you're there, which is pretty standard practice. But again, Oregon, they've got a bond package together. Now they're putting a jock tax in place to help pay for a ballpark, because that'll pay back the bonds they just issued. They're in the process of approving. So again, Portland continues to stay ahead of this, and maintain themselves as a highly likely candidate for an expansion team.
Yeah.
And the belief is right now that when you get to the western half of the country, based on this article, the two cities that are farthest ahead, Portland and Salt Lake City.
I was just looking at the Salt Lake City MLB expansion talk
this past today.
Yeah, because I just feel like we're only hearing about those two. I mean, what would be another market out that way that would be even remotely
Other markets that were in consideration. I mean, Vegas is obviously off the table because of the A's. There's talks of you go to Oklahoma. Is there an opportunity to go? Do you go into New Mexico? Do you go somewhere else in Texas? I think the answer is overwhelmingly been no. You don't want to go. You don't want to go any deeper in California. You got enough teams there already. So I think if you can get Portland or Salt Lake and Vegas, you would have kind of filled out as much of the western half or the western third as you could, because population wise, it's a bunch of dead zones in between there.
Yeah, I mean, what do you have after Denver in the Midwest there?
I mean,
Cheyenne.
Yeah, I mean,
Boise.
and you're not. Yeah, you don't have the infrastructure to support that. I mean, Boise has grown like crazy, but you don't have the infrastructure that would support, I don't think, a Major League Baseball team.
Santa Fe and New
Vancouver
Mexico
is an interesting one because I don't think MLB wants to do anything more in Canada, given the struggles with the Blue Jays. And as much as I want to see baseball go back to Montreal, I don't know that MLB is going to do that because they've had a tough time in Toronto attracting players. And I think that the idea of having to go over the border, I mean, especially in this current environment, forget that.
But well, that's the other thing. Corn challenging out in the Midwest.
Corn, yeah.
Corn and cows.
Like we say in Maine, if trees are people, in the Midwest, if corn was people, you'd be a massive metropolitan area.
Yeah. I mean, I think right now, if I had to rank cities 1 to 5 most likely to get an MLB team within the next, we'll say 7 years.
Yep.
It goes, I would say Orlando's number 1.
Yep. They're the most ready.
I would say it sounds like Portland's number 2 with Salt Lake City as a 2A, 2B.
Yep.
Right? This is where it starts getting a little hazy for me because I don't know if it's Nashville or Raleigh. That would be the front runner there.
Yeah, Pamela in chat saying Nashville. I do think
Nashville.
Nashville's an attractive location because of its proximity to everything else.
It is, but they also have a history with it because when we first started the podcast, they were like, "Yep, full in, let's do this."
Don Mattingly was the guy down there preaching Nashville.
And that's kind of dissipated from the sounds of it. It hasn't really picked up any steam lately. But yeah, Cap, and I'm with you. The top 3 for sure. It's got to be Orlando, Portland, Salt Lake City. But it's going to
And
be
then,
interesting to see what the Rays do. The Rays, I think, are the biggest,
yep.
factor in all of this, because if they don't move to Orlando, then Orlando gets the franchise on this East Coast. I think it's hands down, end of story. Don't even worry about it.
The
But
only
if the Rays move there, then it's different.
Yeah, the only challenge is going to be having teams in Orlando and Tampa. You've got Tampa that doesn't draw. Orlando probably would. Can you really justify having two teams within 90 minutes of each other where one market is a dog?
Yeah.
So, and
But
I've heard this about the White Sox. I don't think the White Sox want to move out of Chicago.
aren't they building a new stadium, or
Yeah.
did that get shot down?
I don't know that Reinsdorf wants to move out of Chicago because that market is so big and could be so lucrative if they're good. I think he just wants an upgrade to the facilities.
I thought they had a new stadium deal in place.
I think they made renovations. I don't know if they've got a new stadium deal in place though.
They're seeking public funding for a new stadium at the 78, which is near the South Loop.
Yeah, they don't have.
Um,
It's not there yet. He wants a new ballpark and doesn't have
they
it yet.
they
Yeah,
proposed it, but that was in because that was in October of 2024, because we had
yeah,
talked about that. Okay.
yep, yep. Yeah, so I don't think Reinsdorf wants to leave Chicago because that market is so big. I think he just wants to be in a better places. Well, yeah, and of course, I mean, every owner wants the taxpayers to pay, and then they have to get real about the fact they won't foot the whole bill.
Right. Yeah.
Um,
I mean, fair.
and honestly, like, what is it now? Rate field. It was guaranteed rate field. Now it's rate field.
Yeah. It's not a guarantee anymore.
Yeah, no, yeah, exactly. That field it's been around a long time, and it wasn't like a great ballpark when it was built. I I can see where he's coming from. Like you haven't paid for Wrigley in a bazillion years. You kind of built me a subpar ballpark a while back, and I think Reinsdorf paid some of the bill on that one. Um,
Yeah.
I think if the White Sox don't get an upgrade, to Pamela's point, then maybe they would look to move. But Chicago is such a good market in terms of the number of people, and that is a good fan base. If there's a product to watch, they'd show up.
And I don't know if the owners approve that move either. You know what I mean? If he comes up and proposes
Yeah,
it, I
I
don't
think.
know if the other owners would approve that, or MLB approves it.
Well, because keep in mind that those other owners are going to get a piece of the rev share coming out of Chicago, and Chicago's a monster market. That can support too.
Man, if that's ridiculous. If Robert
Oh
goes to
god,
the Dodgers, man, I mean, forget it. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me, but
that would be nuts, but also not shocking.
yeah, right. I don't know. Let's see. I mean, I don't think he ends the season. There's no chance
Yeah,
that
the last
he is.
the last
Yeah,
rumor I
3 days
saw was that
ago,
the Cincinnati Reds were kicking the tires, but
but they had been all off season.
they have been for months. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, just names still going around. 3 days ago, I see a report says that he's possibly in with the Dodgers. The White Sox are just
Wow.
waiting for the right package, and he'll be sent out.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. I mean, Chicago is a great market. Yeah, and that you're right. The ownership of the White Sox over the years has gotten all fragmented. Jerry sold off pieces, and then he always had minority investors involved, because that's the other piece of this, is that you don't even when you talk about ownership, the ownership is not a person. It's usually this
Yep.
collection of investors, and
Right.
you've got the majority controlling owner, the control that has the controlling interest, then a bunch of these other guys that are also invested that own smaller stakes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree. Yeah,
No.
and listen, I was like,
Yeah.
we've talked about
Yeah,
Luis
when
Robert
healthy.
for we talked about him like when he first came up. We're like, this guy could be Mike Trout 2.0.
Yeah. So good.
Has the five tools, has everything. Just got to stay on the field for sure.
Yeah.
But
And that's all, the knock on him has been the kind of streakiness, the inconsistency, and the health. I mean,
yeah,
Eloy Jimenez had to settle for a minor league contract to get the hell out of there. He couldn't even get a major league deal.
Well, he's also made of glass as well.
I'd say but he's the same thing. Streaky guy, injured a lot.
Yeah.
It's a theme.
Yeah. So I
And
mean, there's no way he ends the season as a
yeah,
Sox.
I think I would see the White Sox being sold before I saw them being moved. But I think at the same time, you look around Major League Baseball, the Twins are for sale. The White Sox could be. The Rays could be. This is as we've said many times, this is a tough time for expansion when you've got two teams without a home, several teams that could be sold. As an owner, I wouldn't be excited to buy into a market or into a league where I could just go buy an existing team and be all set.
Yeah. This one's the Charlotte Knights.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. AAA of the White Sox, who we're talking about right now. So,
and there's some talent in Charlotte because that's where Kyle Teal is right now, right?
yeah, Kyle Teal, Colson Montgomery.
Oh yeah, Colson Montgomery too.
Yeah. Although I don't, somebody just got called up from the White Sox. I saw it on a reel today. I don't know who just got called up, but
yeah, I would love to watch Luis Robert play every day. He's got a lot. He's got a lot of talent, a lot of different things. And honestly, I thought they were going to trade him in the offseason to make room for all these young kids coming up and just cut their losses and move towards a full on rebuild. But yet he's still there.
Edgar Quiero. So another Q making his MLB debut. We need an X in here.
No kidding, right?
We only got one now that Negro League stats are integrated.
So, there you go.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. The White Sox are such a historic franchise. I don't know if they would ever get moved out of there. You know what I mean? It's almost kind of like, I mean, still not quite, but it's like, oh, the Yankees are moving. The Red Sox are moving. The Cubs are moving. I just don't see it happening.
Yep. Well, in other news, we want to jump to another topic real quick.
Let's go.
MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred was at the White House today, meeting with President Trump to talk about Pete Rose. As we recall, Trump back in February, said he's going to pardon Rose for all of anything that may have been hanging over his head. At the same time, a petition to reinstate him had come through from the family that Manfred said he would consider, and apparently he's not made a decision. He's still considering the petition. The petition doesn't expire, so he can sit on it as long as he wants. But they were talking Pete Rose and his position, his place in the game. Where does he belong in the Hall of Fame? Blah blah blah. All reports from Manfred where it was a great conversation. The president's an avid baseball fan and really appreciates the legacy of Pete Rose. They both agree on that Pete was an important member of MLB. And MLB is going to continue to evaluate the petition and determine what they do next for Pete Rose. But, I mean, the fact that Manfred's at the White House to talk about Pete Rose with the president is maybe that's progress. Maybe Pete Rose is going to get some reinstatement, or at least not. They won't slam the door on that, but we'll see. It continues to swirl.
Yeah, there's just so many hoops that have to be jumped through in order for Rose to finally end up in the Hall, right? He has to be reinstated, and then MLB has to like almost celebrate him, and then the Hall of Fame has to kind of go back and be like, well, okay, I guess we'll let there, you know what I mean? There's just so many things that have to happen in sequence, and there could just be one person be like, yeah, no, like we're stopping this here. And then it's all for naught. I mean, yes, it's a step in the right direction, but I don't know, man. It's going to be a long and arduous process for sure.
Yeah, this is not like Manfred's going to go home tonight, sleep on it, and say, "Boom, he's reinstated. Let's do this." Like, even if Manfred thinks they should, he's gonna bring people in to review it, to discuss it. He's going to take it to the owners. Like, this decision is bigger than just the commissioner. Like, this is a league decision. This is a history altering decision that he's not just going to make on a whim.
Right. Yeah. Just going back to the Chicago thing real quick, baseball history dork. After 125 years in Chicago, traditionalists will well beyond Chicago would lose their minds. I'd be all right with it. But Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
I mean, the Chicago MSA is 9.4 million people, making it one of the 3 biggest markets in the country. Why would
Yeah,
you leave that? Why would you not? You could split a $9 million MSA or move to a 3 million person MSA.
yeah, no thanks.
9 million person, 3 million person. Why
Yeah,
would you leave?
doesn't make
I mean,
sense.
the economics of it say, no, you stay in Chicago. You just need to do a better job running the ball club so people actually show up and care. Because like
Ding, ding, ding.
the Cubs have like the third. I think they were the third highest revenue in baseball last year.
Yep.
Because Chicago is a market that likes baseball. They just also like a winner. They don't.
Right.
They're. I mean, although I will say I think your Cubs fans are more loyal than your Sox fans, and even when that team's not good, they show up. But
And Wrigley
they will
helps
show
with
up.
that.
Yeah,
Like Wrigley helps with that. I mean, you have a historic ballpark. I mean, you know,
yeah, and I think there's been enough to watch that the fans always showed up even when they were really trash.
yeah,
But they absolutely show up when they're good.
yeah. I agree.
Did you see ESPN made it has a deal together with the Bananas?
Oh, yes, I did see that.
Yeah, so ESPN just inked a deal. They're gonna broadcast. I think it's 10 games.
Hmm.
Yeah, so ESPN's gonna broadcast 10 marquee matchups on ESPN or ESPN2 for the Bananas as part of their MLB Takeover tour. They're going to be at 7 MLB stadiums, 2 NFL stadiums, and then Clemson's Memorial Stadium. It sounds like, and this could be interesting. The first game I want to say is April 26th in Clemson. They're going to do the July 5th game at Fenway, the August 1st game at Camden Yards. Those will be ESPN primetime games. But we're going to see Banana Ball on TV, which is kind of ironic given the fact that ESPN and MLB are parting ways because ESPN doesn't care about baseball, and yet they just inked a deal to show 10 Bananas games on ESPN.
Banana Ball at Clemson. How many people could go to that game?
Well, did you see the highlights of the game in Tampa Bay? There are like 70,000 fans at Raymond James Stadium.
Yeah, crazy.
And home run to right field was like 250 feet. I've watched over the last couple months. I've watched a bunch of condensed games, highlight reels, and there are parts of Banana Ball I think are really interesting. There's parts where I feel it's just making a mockery of baseball. So I'm torn on the banana thing. I find it entertaining. I also find it obnoxious at times. So I would love to actually watch a game and determine what I really think about it.
Yeah.
Because I don't love it. I think it's an interesting concept, but I can't imagine watching that every night. Like that would get really friggin' boring.
Yo, for Upper Deck, talking like halfway down the right field line at the tippy top of the stadium at Clemson, $71 each.
Yeah. Nosebleed seats, you can't see anything. Forest, clown ball.
Yeah.
It is. And I think that it's not attracting baseball fans. It's attracting, I think it's like a sideshow. It's almost like when, the early days of like the circus where people go to see it because it's like a freak show. I do think there's a level of like, oh, this is different. Let's go check it out. I do not think Banana Ball is something that you could bring to a market and run every night and it would constantly fill up. I think it works because there's one of them. If you played that game all over the country, I think people would get really tired of it. But I could be wrong. Maybe people just care more about the entertainment. But there are parts that I like, parts that I find really, really obnoxious. And I just don't know where I fall on whether or not I love it or hate it.
Yeah, I think when it like first came out, I was like, "Oh, this is cool because it's different."
Yeah.
And it really isn't baseball.
Yeah, it really isn't. I mean, when you watch it, it really isn't.
No. It's Harlem Globetrotters. It's baseball Harlem Globetrotters.
Exactly. And that's why it works because there's one of them.
Right.
This is not a scalable sport. You could not have 10 of these teams out there because I think people would just grow tired of it.
Yeah.
It's a circus.
Yeah. And I think they know that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Captain agrees with you exactly. Globetrotters of baseball. That's what they are.
Yep.
It's entertainment first, baseball second. And I just don't
1000%.
think I could watch that more than once or twice.
Yeah. Agree. I mean, it would be kind of a cool event to go to once, maybe, and then just kind of be done with it. But
Yeah, and I would be curious.
not for that price.
Yeah, well, I'll be curious. The more times the Savannah Bananas do these tours, do they see ticket prices and demand begin to drop as they come through an area for the second and third time? Because I feel like it's a novelty that, like, once you've seen it, you're like, okay, done. Like, I've seen that. I can move on now.
Yeah.
I don't know that it sticks.
No, I don't think so either. Like,
But
we'll see.
But hey, nothing but praise for Jesse Cole. He took an organization that was on life support and turned it into something that is taking the world by storm. So
Yeah, it's cool.
good for him. And he's
Yeah.
such a cool dude, an entertaining character, and a guy that bet everything on this concept working, and he was right.
Yeah, and I mean, just like the creativity behind it too, and listening to him talk about the creative part of how this all worked and went together is pretty remarkable in itself.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not even talking about like the on-field product, but just like the thought of how to spin baseball so it was like this. But
Well, and the fact that like
it's
all
cool.
your taxes and fees are built into the ticket price, your food's part of the ticket price. What he got right is that he made it all about the fan.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of lessons you can take from Jesse Cole that MLB should look at.
Yeah.
Like, how do you build more value into the ticket price? How do you bring in more entertaining product? How do you give the fans more of what they want without degrading the game? Because I think the Bananas go one step farther and kind of degrade the game. It's entertainment first, baseball second. I think you can. I
Well,
think
yeah, for sure.
I think MLB could learn from their success and do more to bring the fan back.
Yeah. And Vinny, you're a
Yeah, totally.
1000%. The kids love it. They're engaged. It's engaging. It's fun. There's a pitcher out on stilts. Their bats are on fire.
They're dancing, then they throw a pitch.
Yeah, the ump is doing the newest TikTok trend. Like, I mean, I get it. Like,
It's
and
chaos.
right. But I would also argue the other side of that coin, right? The kids love it. And then you bring them to a baseball game.
Yep.
Right? And they're just like, this is it?
Yeah, what the hell is this?
Right? Like, I mean, I completely understand that point.
Forrest is right there with you.
Right. Right. So that's my point. That's my other side of the argument is, you then bring them to an Atlanta Braves game where it's like, okay, the Braves are the best team in the league. And the kids are just like, okay, like, can we go?
Yeah, they're gonna dance. Like, what's gonna happen?
Right.
And I do think I would love to see, and like I was saying before, like I don't know how well it sticks long term with fans. Like, I think at some point fans have seen it, they can check the box and they move on and forget about it. I would love to understand long term what the impact of Banana Ball is. Like, does it bring more people to baseball, or does it actually turn people away from baseball because they see that first and they don't like the game, or they expect baseball to be this kind of circus with a game that breaks out? I don't.
Or does it stay completely separate?
Well, I think it does. I don't think you could never do more than the Bananas. I don't think you could do, the Bananas, and I don't think you could have teams in like Georgia and Chicago and Boston and New York and LA, and you could have like this whole league of this stuff, because I think people would grow tired of it. I think it has
No.
to remain like the Globetrotters. They are one team. They are a novelty, and there's enough people in this country that you can get away with that for a long time. But at some point, like the Globetrotters, they died off. People were like, that's old news. I don't really want to go watch them again. And the Globetrotters are now they're still around, but they're effectively gone. Like,
Yeah.
people kind of, it was one of those, like, I saw it, I'm good, I'm done. And the Globetrotters kind of faded away. I think when you look back at Banana Ball in 10 years, it's probably going to be the same thing. It'll be declining attendance, the novelty's worn off, and now it's just a circus with a game.
Yeah, they're not going to be selling out 100,000
No.
seat stadiums.
No, it's still new. It's new and exciting and different. You're going to go see it and be like, cool, I've seen it. I'm done with it. Like, done with it.
Yeah.
So I'll be curious what kind of staying power it actually has, because the Globetrotters lasted for what? 2 or 3, 2 generations?
A long time. I couldn't even venture a guess.
Yeah, I don't know that banana ball has the same sticking power because it's so much different. The Globetrotters were basically basketball players that could do cool tricks. Banana ball is the dancing, and it's like it is so different from baseball.
I mean, the Globetrotters started in 1926.
Yeah, they really took off. What, in like the 60s? Was that when they got really big? And then
Maybe.
they faded. Then they quickly faded. Then they faded away over the last 20 or 30 years. I think they're basically gone now.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I haven't seen like an ad or anybody discuss the Harlem Globetrotters in a long time.
Yeah, it's every once in a while. Yeah,
Well,
I really haven't either.
They do have a 2025 tour going on.
Okay.
So so actually what they've done is they've morphed. So they're now actually signing like college kids to start early to try to bring young players back to it.
Okay. Nice.
So yeah, so it's different now. It's like a training ground. But either way, cool. I mean it doesn't, the Globetrotters do not have the same attention or luster they had before. It's kind of old news, seen it, been there, done that.
Yep.
And I think the Bananas become that eventually.
What was it, the baseball players that played for them? It was Gibson, Banks, Brock,
Jenkins,
and there was one more.
Was there 5?
Yes. Who
are we forgetting?
Man, who was the 5th one?
Oh, dude, Cap'n, I watched the documentary of that whole And One, the rise and fall of And One. That was so cool. And
I haven't seen it.
And One was amazing when they were at their peak. I mean, that really did. But the cool thing was like that wasn't banana ball in the sense that it was like showy. It was street ball. It brought basketball, to the street court, to the cities, and made everyday basketball players. Forrest saying Satchel Paige. See the other one?
Yes, it was Satchel Paige.
Good save, Forrest. Yeah, you saw the documentary too, Cap, and it was cool because And One was like a cultural thing. That was street ball. They brought it to local cities. They brought it to local basketball courts, and it was really cool. Like that was a cultural movement more than anything.
Yeah.
Globetrotter replaced domestically by the Professor. Yeah.
Yeah. But
yeah. And unfortunately, And One didn't. For the same reason, it didn't last. It just at some point it kind of fizzled out. People were like, "I've been there, done that." The
slam ball.
Yeah, well, it was street ball. It was street ball. It was like Harlem Globetrotters meets, your local paved court with no nets.
Right.
Yeah, Sandlot. There we go. Sandlot ball And One. That would be your And One equivalent. Would be Sandlot baseball.
Yeah, that'd be crazy.
But that was awesome. Like those highlight reels were epic. I'm not even a I haven't watched an NBA game in probably ever because I have no interest in watching basketball. But like I would watch the And One mixtapes because they were so good.
Oh yeah,
they were so fun to watch. But basketball, I have no interest in watching basketball. I haven't watched an NBA game and couldn't tell you the last time I watched one. Couldn't pay me to sit there and watch one. No. I mean, I live in Celtics country. I didn't watch a minute of their run to the championship. Couldn't have cared less.
Yep. I'm with you.
But we should fire up a Sandlot. We should get the rounding third mixtape. Sandlot Ball League.
Yep, let's do it. we building it in your backyard?
No, not my backyard's not big enough.
Yeah, mine might be.
And it's my wife we only have like a 2-week season up here, so.
Yeah, that's true.
Come on, you know how it works up here.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll build it in my backyard.
Your backyard. If we build it, they will come. I heard that somewhere.
I can't remember what movie though.
Not a clue.
No. All right. Yeah, Little Big League of Their Own or something like that. I don't know. I think that's what it was called.
Yeah.
But
Did you see
anywho,
that one of our trivia question answers, Hensley Mullins, was fired by the Rockies? Clint Hurdle takes over as hitting coach.
I did see that. Yeah.
Only
So
reason I know
Clint.
his name is from Benchwarmers from the
Yep.
trivia show we were on.
Yep. So Clint Hurdle's back with the Rockies,
It's like
right?
a
Because wasn't
boomerang.
he over? He was over there at one point.
He was a manager there for a while, wasn't he?
Yeah, I believe so. Before Bud Black.
It's hard to believe there's a
So,
time before Bud Black. He's been there so long.
right.
He's been there for 10 plus years.
Yeah.
Oh, so Clint Hurdle is actually already there as a special assistant to the GM. Okay, just been up in the front
Oh,
office.
so they just moved him down to the
Yeah,
field.
he's never really
Gotcha.
left. He's been up in the front
Yeah.
office.
Yeah. I did see that.
Oh, you
So.
talking about backyard baseball, Captain? The
Oh
Sandlot
yeah,
game?
for sure.
Backyard
Mhm.
baseball is epic.
Yeah.
The game is so good. You can be the little kid in the wheelchair that like crushes bombs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
backyard.
just,
Actually, they just brought that game back to PC. I want to say recently because it's been so in demand because it's such a classic.
darn. Yeah. So good.
Yeah, I'll throw a link in the chat. I want to say at one point that game was basically like dead, and it's from back in '97. Oh, they actually launched it on mobile too. I'll drop a link. But backyard baseball is back from 1997.
Dang. When all the good baseball games were made.
I'm telling you, there was the late '90s, early 2000s. There were so many good games that came out. Oh, one MLB player at each position, you'd pick them. Oh, I thought this was backyard baseball. Was it Slugfest? That was like the crazy arcade game where you'd pick guys.
You had one.
Vintage baseball with the curly mustaches. That seems like it's more a Forest thing. The vintage baseball with the curly mustaches.
That'd be great.
I would take both catchers and come in with all the pass balls. It's interesting strategy, but it works.
All right. Best baseball video games in history.
Oh,
Found a
here we go.
list on MLB. Here we go. I'll start with number 10 and go up.
Okay, here we go.
Number 10, we have Out of the Park Baseball.
Never really got into Out of the Park. Is that the one that was more like the simulation?
I have no idea, honestly.
There was one game where you were like a GM only. I want to say it was it Out of the Park?
Oh, that's dumb.
Yeah, it was like a
Oh,
total
it was
sim.
more like a job. Yeah, you're right. One designed to make you pull
Yeah.
out your hair and find yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one where you were like literally just the GM.
Yeah. And number 9 is Base Wars.
What?
It's like it's cyborgs and robot fights, like
Oh
during
my
close
goodness.
plays. I think it was on
That's in the
regular
that's in the
NES.
top 10.
Yeah, well, it was like on
Oh my
regular
God.
NES on
Yeah,
Nintendo.
I just found like a YouTube clip and it's this like it's
Yeah.
a robot tank that rolls into the batter's box.
Uh-huh.
What?
Oh my God, I totally remember this. Triple Play Baseball 2001. You could play in a park that looked like your living room. Like there was a deck of cards that was the outfield wall, but then like
Oh
beyond
yes.
that, it was like your
Yes.
living room, like but you were small.
I forgot about that. That was
Trip
awesome.
Yeah, Triple Play 2001, Triple Play Baseball. That's number 8. Number 7's MLB Slugfest. I mean, that was
Slugfest was fun.
yeah.
You get to the base, punch the guy, make him drop the ball.
Yeah, it was Slugfest, NFL Blitz. Like it was the kind of the same
NBA
time.
Street, was that the NBA version?
Yeah. I don't know if NBA Street had fighting in it, but
Oh
it was
no, it
kind of
probably
like
wasn't the
that
same
same
level.
idea. But RBI Baseball, obviously, number 6.
Yep, that's a good one.
Number 5, Baseball Stars. So that was regular old school Nintendo. And then, I mean, number 4, Backyard Baseball.
I remember
22
Baseball
years.
Stars. Yep.
Yeah.
Backyard baseball is definitely on the list.
Yeah. Backyard Baseball, number 4. Number 3, MLB The Show.
Yep.
I mean, They're still going. The game's ridiculous.
It's so
Number
good.
number two, Ken Griffey Jr. Baseball, Super Nintendo. That's so good. They
Yeah.
also had Ken Griffey winning run in that franchise as well. It was
So
good.
I have an old N64 down here in my office, and I have Ken Griffey Jr. on the N64, which was also really good. But
Yeah,
SNES was by far the best.
yeah. And then this one is, I agree with this 1,000%, is MVP Baseball 2005.
Oh yes,
This,
best game
this
ever by far, no debate needed.
it was so far ahead of its time at that point where like you actually had the time the pitches, the physics were starting to get there with like the ball trail, um, the mini games you could play. It was so good. So I agree with that number
I'm
one
actually
for sure.
dropping a link in the chat. MLB actually talked about this game uh, last month and how it revolutionized all baseball video games. I just dropped a link in the chat. It's really cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Stratomatic, yes, the Stratomatic.
Mm,
Oh my goodness.
yeah, so good, man.
Forrest, I literally have Bases Loaded 2 second season sitting over there with my regular Nintendo. I play that game regularly. That Bases Loaded 2 might be my favorite baseball game of all time, but MVP 2005 is right there in terms of like it blew my mind at what was possible.
Did you
But
ever
Bases Loaded
play?
2 for sure is in my house, and I love that game.
Was it High Heat?
Yeah, I loved High Heat too because that was more simulation. So High Heat was in the same time as MVP and all that,
Okay,
but it was much more of a simulation game. Graphics were a little not quite as good. The
it was PlayStation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
graphics weren't quite as good, but it was just a much better simulation.
Yeah.
And there's actually a guy on Facebook. What's his channel? Retro Entertainment. Yeah, I'm gonna drop a link in the chat. Oh, Forrest, I would love to if only NES had like online capabilities. So, I got Hawaii. I
And
always loved, was
then
it Texas who had Deeth in the middle of the lineup that just crushed balls?
so many. Roger Clemens MVP baseball.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
That one
so
you could actually like pick which side of the base you could go to when you slid into it.
oh yeah,
So
that's
like
right. I
it was
remember that.
like the first time where like you choose left, right, and as the fielder you could choose which side you put the glove down, and it determined if you were safe or not. So that was a good one too. Man, video game tangent. Let's go.
John, MVP 05 was legit. Like blow you
Oh
away.
yeah. I
Everything you're seeing in MLB
what
The Show
was
25 this year was like thought of back in MVP 05.
yeah, but wasn't John Dowd also an MVP 05? Or was that 04?
Oh yeah, what year was Barry Bonds John Dowd?
I want to say it was 04, but I could be wrong.
Yeah. 2005, MVP 2005. He
It
was
was
John Dowd.
2005.
Yep.
So yeah, that's funny.
Yep. It's
That's funny.
funny,
Is that
John.
right?
It was, I think Nick a couple weeks ago realized like, hey, that was actually Barry Bonds' name in MVP 05. I'm like, you're right. It was.
Yeah,
I never even
yeah.
noticed. So, oh, that's funny. But
Are
yeah,
you actually the John Dowd?
yeah. Are you actually just Barry Bonds and you're not telling us?
Right. Yes.
But yeah,
So,
Nick picked up on that a couple weeks ago, and he saw you in the chat. He's like, "Isn't that? I'm pretty sure that was Barry Bonds' name in MVP 05." And I'm like, "I think you're absolutely right."
oh yeah, for sure.
Oh, Forrest, Base Loaded 3 was horrendous. Base Loaded 1 was good. Base Loaded 2 was better. Base Loaded 3 was trash. I'm pretty sure my copy of Bases Loaded 2 is technically my uncle's that I just never returned. And I feel like because I've had it so long, it's just mine. But that game is so good. And you can throw that crazy, like stupid slow changeup that was so hard to hit. Classic.
Yeah.
So John, is your name Are you not actually John Dowd? Is this just like a wink and a nod to Barry Bonds in 05?
That'd be
Because I was convinced when Nick said that, I'm like, oh, that's not even his name. This is you must be a video game fan. And that was, you're just playing with us.
right.
But yeah, Bases Loaded 2 on NES was better than, I think it was better than any of them.
I don't know if I ever played Bases Loaded 2. I was just like my first console was Super Nintendo, so it was Ken Griffey Jr.
Yeah, Bases
Like
Loaded.
that was
Oh,
my first one.
I'm gonna drop a link in the chat to I'm not John Dowd. Okay, good. So this is you are a baseball fan that
Yeah,
understands the 2005
yeah,
Barry Bonds.
yeah. It's cool though.
Anyways, I'm dropping a link in the chat. It's a gameplay video of Bases Loaded second season. It was just such a basic game, but it was so fun to play.
Yeah.
And there's a guy on Facebook, I want to say it was like Retro Entertainment's the channel name. He still plays it. I friggin' love that game.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I know.
Play on. Well done. Because Nick caught it a couple weeks ago, and I honestly had kind of forgotten.
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute. I was
Yeah.
like, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Nick said it.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, duh. I remember that.
yeah. Yeah, because that was the biggest thing. Because there was a couple guys that were never in the players' union when they played, so you never saw them in the baseball games because they didn't have the license to them. And Barry Bonds was one of them.
Yep.
I can't remember
Yeah, and
the other guys.
it was all because Barry Bonds pulled himself out of the licensing deal because he didn't think it was a fair deal to the player. So he said, "Screw it, I'm out."
Right. I think there was a couple others too, though. Kevin Millar were not licensed either.
That's right, because he was a replacement player, right?
Yeah, he was replaced by Anthony Freeze.
That's right.
That was like the name they used.
Yep.
So they were the only two.
Yeah, because not every player
video.
is part of the union and signs on to these things. There was a stretch there where players were like stepping out of the Major League Baseball Players Association, which seemed weird to me. But MVP 05 was so good.
Oh yeah,
it was changed what was possible.
So far ahead of its time.
Change what was possible,
and then they dropped it. Like
I know. Then they came back the year after, like completely changed it, and you're like, "What happened? This game was beautiful."
Because it wasn't it like the Madden? Wasn't it like the Madden money was gonna cost too much or something like that? So they had to drop a couple titles in order to get the licensing for the NFL.
Yeah, something like that. And then I remember the college baseball game they brought out.
Yeah,
I loved that game.
Because they didn't have to license anything for that.
I had that game. It was so fun to play. I loved that game because it was basically MVP 05 with college players.
Right, and metal bats.
Exactly. Same screen, same gameplay, same everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, the progression of baseball video MVP and MLB The Show 25 is stupid good. Like it's ridiculously good.
Yeah. Dang. Wow. Well, what a rabbit hole. That was awesome.
I know. I could go there for a while.
MVP 06 NCAA baseball. Here we go.
Oh, I don't had parody names. Regular Nintendo. Oh, I don't.
I mean, Ken Griffey Jr. baseball was sort of like that. Like all the players were like exactly like the lineups, but their names were just completely different. Like it was like for Texas was like Wyatt Earp, but you knew it was freaking Jose Canseco or Juan Gonzalez, right? Like all the batters looked like the guys in the lineup, but MLB All Stars for regular Nintendo. Man.
There. Oh, so there's MLBPA baseball. That was Super Nintendo back in '94, where they made up a bunch of
Oh
names.
yeah, that's right.
They called it fighting baseball in Japan. That one had like, it was like Willie Dustis instead of
Willie Dustis.
instead of David Justice and stuff, weird stuff like that.
That's funny.
Oh yeah, MLB All Stars game.
That's funny. What was the name of that one?
MLB All Stars.
No, the one you were just saying with like the names that
Oh,
were close.
it was called MLBPA baseball.
It's funny that it'd be MLBPA baseball,
I know,
but
it doesn't make any sense.
They still couldn't use the real name.
Oh, and actually, Roger Clemens baseball on the NES also had made up names. Like Don Mattingly was Matt Donningly.
That's funny.
That might be the one you're thinking of, Forrest, where I think it was Roger Clemens baseball where they just like goofed up the names and they'd flip some letters around.
Yeah.
Because I think if I'm reading it right, MLBPA baseball was just like flat out fake names. Whereas Roger Clemens baseball, it looks like it was more like mask names.
Yeah. So I'm reading too in the MLBPA baseball, like even the leagues, they used nothing.
Yeah.
So they just said A league, N league, and then called it the series.
Yep. Yeah, and Forrest just responded. He thinks it was Roger Clemens baseball. That would make sense. It looks like that one fits it better.
Wow.
Oh, I remember this game. I played it a bunch.
I mentioned this one because this was the first one that you could like choose which side of the base you could slide into. But I forgot all about the names.
You can actually play it on retrogames.cc.
Daryl Strawberry is Raspberry, or simply Barry in other versions of the game. Barry Bonds is Barris. George Bell is Dell.
Yeah.
Steve Sachs is Clarinet. Joe
Steve
Carter
Clarinet.
Joe Carter is Car. David Justice is Judge. Dwight Gooden is Doctor, obviously.
Makes sense. Rob
Deere is Bambi. Lenny Dyke. I bet you can't guess what Lenny Dykstra's is.
Oh, I don't even want to guess.
It's Nails, because that's his nickname. Tim Raines is Snows. Terrible. David Cohn is Conehead. Oh nice. My god, because that was to pay homage to the SNL skit at that time. Yeah, Mark and Jose Canseco were both Bash.
Yeah. Okay. So it's Roger Clemens baseball. Forrest thinking of then. Geezer here. Baseball Stars used some classic players in their original Nintendo. You could earn money to apply to traits if you didn't press reset and power at the same time and erase your progress. Oh my god! Like the things we grew up with, where there were no memory cards or internal memory on these things. You had to like play these games to make sure stuff got saved.
Yep. Or take it out.
Oh my god! Yeah. If it doesn't work, don't worry. Just you got to like wiggle it in there just right before you push it down and push the power button.
Yeah. You have to like almost barely put it in, but so it like clicks on the way back down, but it's not supposed to click. But yeah, hold it, tilt it at a certain angle.
Oh my goodness, it was so bad.
Put it on channel 3.
Oh yeah, for sure. Only channel 3 only. Anybody that set the little thing to channel 4 was some sort of like monster.
Psychopath.
Yep.
Yeah. And unless you have to over there in the Midwest, sorry guys, I don't know what you do over there. But
yeah, not a clue.
Man, oh,
so I started off with the Sega 8-bit system, which most people don't even know existed. It was the Sega Master System. It had like little cards that slid in and cartridges.
The 8-bit system? The heck is that?
It was Sega's version of Nintendo. I just put a link in the chat. my mom pulled the plug because I was on too long and I lost it. That's the worst.
Oh. Oh
Oh,
yeah. I've seen that one before.
yeah, I had one of those. It had this like cool flight simulator game on it, and
Hmm.
but it was like so basic.
Yeah.
Like you could put cartridges in the top or little cards in that gap,
Yeah.
like a little slot. It looked like a credit card that slid in.
Yeah.
It was weird.
Yeah. I remember seeing Sega Saturn for the first time at one of
Oh
my
yeah,
friend's house. He had that, and I was like, "Whoa, what are these graphics?" Like, because I had never really seen it before. And then, like the first time I saw PlayStation 2, I was like, "Holy smokes!" And it's just crazy how each generation just gets better and
yeah.
better and better.
Well, do you remember the Atari Jaguar? I had a friend that had that system,
Yeah.
which was a 64-bit system, so like in the Nintendo 64 generation, and like it had Alien versus Predator, which was a really cool game, and then it had like nothing else after that. It was trash.
Yeah.
It had the weirdest controller.
Oh yeah, I've totally played this before.
You were
Got
rich.
like it's got it's got that like big ball on it, right? As the controller.
No, it's got like the big like number pad at the bottom of it. It looked
Oh,
like a
gotcha. Yeah,
sandwich.
yeah. The hell? Oh, yeah, yeah. I've
Yeah, it
definitely
was so
held one of
dumb.
these before. I don't
Yeah.
think I've ever played this, but I've definitely held one of these before.
Yeah, it had Alien versus Predator on it, which was really good, and then otherwise there was nothing there.
Only $807 on eBay.
Perfect. Buy one. You'll love it. Oh yeah, Atari had no baseball games. Like nothing that was at all worth playing. And that was true when they moved to the Atari Jaguar at 64-bit. There was no baseball game for it ever.
NBA Jam.
Oh, I loved NBA Jam. He's on fire.
So good.
There are so many cool like emulators. You can play almost any of these games on your computer now.
Yeah. Wild. Dang. Well then.
That was a hell of a rabbit hole.
Yep. Love that. All right. Well.
So Nick, real quick. So for me, I went Sega to Nintendo. I didn't have a Super Nintendo. I didn't have a Sega Genesis. Then I jumped like all the way up to PlayStation. It's like in between, I don't know what happened, but I didn't own a Super Nintendo. I didn't own a Sega Genesis. I just played other people's, I guess.
Yeah. So for me, it was I had an Atari. Like our family had it, and we would like share it with like my uncle, my grandmother, like it just kind of made its rounds.
Seems like a main thing.
Oh, for sure.
The whole family shared one console and just passed it around.
Yeah. And then it was Super Nintendo was my first one. Then um I went straight to PlayStation 1. And then it was 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. I've never had an Xbox. I've never had anything. Oh, I have Nintendo Switch too. So I've had all the generations of Nintendo. So Nintendo Wii and then the Switch. So
Yep. Fair. Like I said, $864 rich.
yeah. Yeah.
Original Nintendo, it might still be my favorite
Yeah.
console of all time. Although the
Yeah.
N64 was highly underrated.
It was good.
I do want to get one of those. Like they released the new consoles, like the Super Nintendo. That's like the tiny little console you can plug straight into your TV.
It's got
I
all
want
the
to get one
games
of
on it.
Yeah, I want to get one of those because I never had a Super Nintendo, but there are so many good games on Super Nintendo that I'd love to play.
I have one of them.
Although I will say,
I have one. It's about this
oh,
big.
do you?
It's
Yeah, those things are awesome.
yeah. Hold on.
There was nothing more frustrating than
I'll
the
grab
early
it.
Madden games though, because those games were so freaking hard to play. I sold a kidney basically to get a Sega Genesis when that came out. I remember one year I wanted a Game Boy so bad. I remember my dad would be like, he was out at the mall at like 4 o'clock in the morning trying to get me a Game Boy.
It's literally this.
Oh yes,
So it's just a box. Like the cartridge
yeah.
doesn't go
There's no,
into it or anything.
and
All
all the
the
games
games
are
are already
installed
in
in
it.
it, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
I got to get me one of those because there
Dude,
were so
wait,
many
hold
good
on.
SNES
Hold on.
games.
I need to address this real quick.
Okay,
You sold a kidney and I needed one about 3.5 years ago. Unreal.
yeah.
Wow. Unbelievable.
I think he was a kid back then, But
Yeah, I heard this. The new Nintendo Switch 2 is
what?
buco bucks. It's silly.
For a
And
Switch? My kids have the Switch, and there's no way in hell I'd spend $450 on a new one.
and if you look at the graphics, they're really like there's not much difference between the Switch 2 and the original Switch. Um, I think it's just storage is pretty much what they're trying to sell. That it can hold more
Yeah,
games.
pass.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
and Forrest, we did not talk about World Series Baseball on Sega Genesis. That was a good game. I used to play that at a friend's house a lot, and that was a really good game.
I also on Super Nintendo I had baseball ESPN Baseball Tonight.
Oh, so good. I'm dropping a link in the chat to World Series Baseball on Sega Genesis. That was a cool game. I don't remember Baseball Tonight, though.
You don't remember the ESPN? It was not very good.
I remember I vaguely remember. Oh, I do remember the game. It was not good. You're right.
The hitting in it was funky. Like, yeah, it was strange.
I remember the game being cool because like Chris Berman called the games.
Yeah, that was about it.
Oh yeah, and the guys ran in off the field like you had to like watch the screen as guys came in and out. I remember this game.
Yeah,
It was really weird.
yeah,
It had some good stuff, but it was
yeah. It wasn't great.
not great. The real allure to it was Chris Berman.
Early Madden games. So my first football game was actually other than Tecmo Super Bowl, obviously, which everybody
Oh my
played.
goodness! Again, also with my Nintendo over there.
I had NFL Quarterback Club for Super Nintendo.
Oh, that was good.
That game was so good. And you would go through like the QB combine where you're sitting there like trying to like mash buttons to get the distance on the throw. Like, dude, it was so good.
So if you go into are you an iPhone or an Android user?
iPhone.
So if you go in and look for Retro Bowl, there's a game on the phone called Retro Bowl.
Oh
And it's
yeah, yeah.
basically Tecmo Super Bowl on your phone. It's
I
so
know.
cool.
I'm 45 years into my franchise. Leave me alone.
Oh, me too. Yeah, I've won like 7 straight Super Bowls.
That's it.
I'm not 45 years in like you. I'm like 9 years in.
I just play on a beginner, so I can just call myself the
that's
best of
weak
all
sauce,
time.
dude. Like I jack up the difficulty level.
No, I do too. I'm just kidding.
But yeah, that's
anyways.
Well, and on that note.
Yeah. But dang. Man, that was awesome.
There's a question back in the chat. Oh, here we go. Casey Hat. George Brett or Bo Jackson? Whew. Talk about baseball for a minute.
I'll take George Jackson, please.
Can I take both for different reasons? I mean, George Brett for baseball skill and Bo Jackson for just outright athleticism.
Crazy.
I mean, there may not be a more entertaining guy to watch in his prime than Bo Jackson.
No. I just can't imagine hurting yourself because you freaking too powerful for your body. Like it literally just pops out of your hip because you like overstrode. Like
dude just snapping bats over his head and over his knee after a strikeout. Yeah. Dude, we are way off topic. Juan Soto was like 2 hours ago. We're like 2.5 hours into the stream now. We went deep on Juan Soto like 2 hours ago.
Yeah.
What do you think about Soto? He's off to a slow start. He's blaming the fact he's not hitting in front of Judge. What do you think? Is Juan Soto just underperforming, or does he have a legitimate argument? Or is he just being a baby? There could be that too.
Or D, all of the above.
Yeah. Or all of the above, yes. Yeah, unfortunately, when we're 2.5 hours in, I can't guarantee we're still on any topic.
Yeah, for real.
Like
we
went down a rabbit hole like half an hour ago.
Covered banana ball. We've covered everything.
We've talked expansion because that comes up every week.
I don't know how that just keeps coming up. I mean, I guess it's because new news keeps coming out, I guess. So
Juan Soto never got his own Sega Genesis. Juan Soto wasn't alive when the Genesis came out, first of all, Forrest. Us old guys remember the Genesis, but Juan Soto, he grew up in a PlayStation-only world.
Yo, I work with a ton of like younger kids. They're like just into college or they're like high school.
Yeah.
And my manager and I are around the same age, and we were talking about the 6-disc CD changers that also had the cassette
Yes.
deck underneath. And I was like, oh, we made our own mixtapes all the time because I would choose which CD and then I'd hit record on the tape so the song would play, but it's recording on the tape.
Yep.
And these kids are just staring at us like, yo, how old are you? I was
Dude,
like,
I had the Iowa system, AIWA. Remember those guys with the
oh yeah.
it was this, it was like the 3 or 4 CD changer on top, the 2 cassettes, and then the speakers that actually detached and you could spread out.
Oh yeah.
Dude, I was a baller.
Right? Yeah. Absolutely insane. But it's so funny.
Yeah, it's I love the picture to go around, like it shows the old stereo system. It's like I am this old. I am one of those people. I am that old that I had one of
Yeah.
those stereo systems.
It's wild. But man.
Expansion, that is my fault. I mean, we did. We brought up Portland, Oregon specifically for you.
Yeah.
And then we went off on an expansion tangent. So yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
It's all
but
good.
it's a good topic.
Yeah, and that's why we do this. We love getting on the,
Yeah,
talk
I,
about the news that's going on and then just like shoot the ball. Like,
yeah, I love these Thursday shows. You tell us what you want to talk about. We'll talk about it.
yep.
We'll talk video games. We'll talk expansion. We'll talk ABS systems. We'll talk Juan Soto because we already did. Whatever. I'm waiting for Forrest to throw something random in the chat.
Yeah.
We just sing an Ice Cube "Good Day," fellas.
Yeah.
That's a good song. It's
Yeah.
gonna be a good day. I can get down with that.
Man.
Oh man,
Oh, yeah.
my
That was
my Royals are in a rough stretch right now. Boy, it's been tough.
yeah. They every time I've kind of checked in on them, I've been like, eek.
A lot of close games. A lot of close games. They got swept by the Yankees. I think they lost the whole series by a total of like 5 runs.
Mm-hmm.
Just close games. Whose jersey you got on?
I have my Yarmouth Clippers jersey.
Oh my goodness.
It was my high school team. I kind of took one when I moved. You're welcome.
Wait, the team you were coaching, not where you went to high school.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Oh, here we go. Let's go. Ozzie Smith or Derek Jeter? Woo.
I'm taking Derek Jeter. I'll take the rings. You can have the catch in Oakland and the Chalk Nixon catch, but I'll take everything else with Derek Jeter.
I mean, the whole body of work, yeah, I'll take Jeter. If I need a defensive, if I need somebody in the bottom of the ninth on defense to close out a game, I want Ozzie. If I want somebody over the course of a season and in a playoff series to help me win, I want Derek Jeter.
1,000%. And
Yep.
like I love the Wizard and everything, but I don't think it's close, to be honest.
I would actually make the argument that Omar Vizquel is greater than Ozzie Smith.
I'm with you on that. We've talked about that before. I think Vizquel is better than Smith.
I think the body of work I think the body of work for Vizquel is actually better than Ozzie Smith.
Yep. And numbers would back that up for sure.
They would.
Oh, Captain says Smith over Jeter.
Ooh, all right. All right. I mean, not a wrong answer there, but with Ozzie, you don't get a lot of offense.
Yeah, you get a lot of runs saved, but
I will say that defensively, Jeter is highly overrated for what he gave you. He was an average defender and a very clutch, good hitter, but not a great defender. I think when you look at that shortstop class that came up in that couple year stretch between A-Rod, Nomar, and Jeter was the weakest defender of the group.
Yeah.
Can Jeter do a backflip? Nobody can dive into the stands unnecessarily.
Yep, it's true. I've seen it numerous times. Still could have stopped.
If Derek was not in New York, is it the same?
No, because he doesn't win.
So I think Derek Jeter to me he's kind of like Tom Brady in the sense where Brady's success was a result of the situation he was in, the coaching that he had, and the team that he was on. I'm not saying Brady wasn't a great quarterback, but Brady doesn't win somewhere else. Just like Peyton Manning had trouble winning somewhere else. Like he had the perfect situation, just like Jeter had.
Yeah.
Jeter's in the perfect situation. He could not have written a better story for himself. So I think that
Yeah.
if you put Jeter in Cincinnati, that's a hell of a lot. It's a hell of a lot different.
Yeah.
His career turns out a hell of a lot different.
Yeah. Look, he went to the Marlins, and how long did that last? 2 months?
Yeah. Chris
Yeah.
Sale or Randy Johnson?
It's not even close.
No, Randy Johnson. 7 days a week, twice on Sunday.
I would take Randy Johnson right-handed over Chris Sales.
I mean,
Just saying.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, Randy Johnson might be, if he's not the best left handed pitcher of all time, he's one of the best.
Yeah.
He's in the top handful.
This is not our job. No, this is what we do. We love talking baseball twice a week and talk about the news. We have trivia questions and stuff like that. We're just kind of like free forming right now, but no, this is not our job for sure.
Yeah. We are baseball fans that just love to share our love of baseball.
Yeah. Unit, no discussion. Yeah. It's not even close.
Yeah. No. Randy Johnson is one of one.
Yeah. Now, my question, do you take Deion Sanders or Bo Jackson? Whole athlete package.
Ooh. I mean, you'd have to take Deion Sanders for the balance of work because he lasted longer. But I think Bo Jackson was the better overall player. In both, probably. Well, it's hard to say because his football career was so short.
Then Sanders is a Hall of Famer.
I know because yeah, I mean it's if Bo Jackson doesn't get hurt, I think he's the better player of the two overall. Because he got hurt, Deion Sanders was the better. I mean, Deion Sanders as a baseball player was an average player at best.
Yeah, Jackson had the higher ceiling until he didn't. Is that what you're saying? He had the higher
Yeah,
ceiling until he didn't.
yeah. But if Bo Jackson and Deion Sanders played the same length of time, Bo Jackson's the better player. But he didn't because he got hurt. Yeah, exactly. Bo was better. His career was just shorter.
Yeah.
Bo was the better baseball player. I think he was the better football player. His career was just short.
Yeah. No, Sanders was a cornerback.
Yeah, he was a cornerback, and I mean, other than returning kicks, where he scored a number of touchdowns returning kicks, he was a defender.
Yeah.
I mean, and a great cornerback. I mean, one of the best cornerbacks ever.
Yeah. Yeah. Coaching is questionable now in Colorado. Yeah.
I've been pretty impressed with him as a coach. What I like with him is that he also makes them be students and be people, and they're not just football players.
Yeah.
But I do think that his program is going to run its course, and he'll eventually, wear out his welcome because he's got an interesting style. But I do like the program that he runs. I think he's going to jump to the NFL in a couple of years, anyways, and it won't matter.
You think he'll translate to the NFL?
I'm just saying he'll jump to the NFL. I'm not saying he's going to do well there, but somebody's going to give him a shot.
I don't know. I mean, possibly.
I don't think his long-term plan was to be a college coach. I think he was working his way up to an NFL gig. We'll see.
Yeah.
But challenging. Kick returns. That was where he scored his touchdowns and developed his cool dances. I mean, Deion Sanders was a show.
I mean, 9 years. He did not have as many stolen bases I thought he would.
Deion?
Yeah.
No, he's a pretty average player.
But I mean, 186 stolen bases. I would have thought he had more. But he only had
20-ish a year?
641 games played.
Yeah, he's hurt. I mean, he's hurt a lot. I mean, he never played 100 games in a season. Or sorry, one time he did. I mean, he was consistently, 95 games, 92 games, 46 games, 33 games. Like he was either hurt or somewhere else.
Yeah.
His overall baseball career was kind of blah. I mean, a guy that finished his career with he was a 5.5 WAR, 263 batting average, 39 home runs, 168 RBIs, 186 stolen bases, 319 OBP, 308 runs scored. I mean, he was a very average baseball player. Bo Jackson was a freak.
8.3 WAR in 8 years.
Yeah, because most of those years were short. I shouldn't say most. Several of them were short. And the hard part
Yeah.
with Bo is that he was all or nothing. You know, his WAR all came in a 3-year stretch.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he was
4 year stretch, I would say. 87 to 90.
well, 87. He was a 0 WAR.
Oh, right. War wise, yeah. But
Yeah, WAR
stats wise,
wise.
22 homers, 53 RBIs, 25, 68, 32 and 100. Whew.
Yeah, Bo's a challenging guy because the career was short. The highs were high, the lows were low.
Yeah.
But it would have been amazing to see what he could have done with a longer career.
Yeah.
Cecil, I used to love Cecil Fielder hitting home runs in the old Detroit Tiger Stadium up on the roof. I miss the old Tiger Stadium, the 2 decks, and that place was such a bizarre ballpark. But it's definitely Miggy for sure. Forrest, give him the big base running oven mitt, see what happens. Dude, Forrest, I was watching an interview with somebody and they were showing some clips. These travel ball kids at 9 years old are going to the plate with the Bruce Bolt gloves, the leg guards, elbow guards, sliding mitts. They're friggin' 9.
Yeah,
What
they got everything.
9-year-old? Yeah, what 9-year-old needs all that friggin' crap for a kid who's throwing 47 miles an hour?
The same kids or the same parents are getting it for the kids that, are spending $4,500 for them to be on that team.
What the hell? Like the kid had a towel hanging out of his back pocket. I'm like, this kid's 9.
Yep.
Necklaces, sunglasses, elbow guard, leg guard. I was like, what has happened to baseball at the youth level?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Hey, here.
Yo, what are you doing up on a school night? Get to bed.
Yeah.
That's your...
Well, he shouldn't have made that comment, Jack.
How's it going, buddy? Good to see you. But yeah, I don't know. Just
Araldus Chapman or CC Sabathia?
like, okay. I mean, it's not. They're not even like.
Can I say neither?
Yeah, I mean, I'll take CC when he led the league, both leagues in shutouts in the same year.
Yeah, I mean, CC's a Hall of Famer. Oh, it's
I forgot it's spring break. You're right.
Come on, Nick. Get with the program.
Sorry, I'm not in school anymore.
Spring break here too. Started today.
Oh. Easter break, huh?
Yeah. Well, no. Now the spring break is Thursday, Friday, and the whole following week.
Well, yeah, you got to have.
I mean,
teacher workshop days.
Yeah, my kids aren't in the public school, so it doesn't necessarily matter to me. But like, yeah, now these kids get like 7 school days off because, God forbid, they went to school for any length of time.
Yeah. Well. Yeah, I mean, those two pitchers really aren't comparable. I don't know.
I mean, if I've got to pick one based on the balance of work, I would take CC because he's a Hall of Famer and he was for a few years he was an elite starting pitcher. Otherwise, he was a pretty good one. Araldus Chapman was a closer who's had some serious ups and downs, but
yeah,
I mean, is what it is.
Yeah, 4 years for Jackson for football. His best year was 89, 950 yards, 4 touchdowns.
Dude, that was one single game in Tecmo Bowl.
Yeah, right.
When you just had to zigzag down the field, and you could run it. Literally, you just had to run. You had to run the delay through the top hole, and he was gone every time.
Every time.
Nobody caught him. He was so fast. Yeah. All right, Nolan Ryan, the GOAT. This is a tough one.
I don't know. The best pitcher of all time.
I've always taken the approach that Nolan Ryan is the most overrated pitcher of all time. because he's a guy that struck a lot of guys out. He walked a ton of guys, gave up a bunch of hits and home runs. But he also was on so many bad teams that it's really hard to tell how good he actually was. You put him on better teams. I mean, he's basically a career 500 pitcher. And that was not his fault. He was on a lot of bad teams. But he also did not help himself with the walks, the hits.
No.
He is a very complicated guy to rank and rate.
It's just
because
no
he
one
was
plays
so
for
good.
30 years. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because he was so good at times and so mediocre at times. Oh, we got to vote for Ken Griffey as the GOAT. I mean,
Yeah. Are we talking like the GOAT of all time or the best pitcher ever? Because I think it's different.
Yeah, you're right, Forrest. He's got the most no-hitters, one-hitters, two-hitters, and three-hitters.
I agree with that, but it's still hard for me. I don't know. I still don't consider him the best pitcher.
No. He's not on my Mount Rushmore of pitchers. He's probably not even in my top 5 or 10. But Nolan is terrific in his own right.
Just the longevity alone carries a lot of that.
If I need to go win a game 7, I'm not going to Nolan Ryan for it. I'm just not.
Who are you going with?
I'm going to guys like Randy Johnson. I got so many guys I'd go to before him. I'd go to Gibson. I'd go to Johnson. Office is
Koufax.
I'd go to Koufax. I mean, you could sit here and list a bunch of guys I go to before I went to Nolan Ryan to win an important game. Because with Nolan, he was either great or terrible.
Yeah. Oh, Ted Williams.
Oh, Ted Williams is my best player of all time. We did a whole bracket. We took 64?
Yeah.
We did a whole bracket a couple of years ago. We took the 64 top rated players of all time and ran a bracket all the way through, and we came out with Ted Williams being number 1 and Willie Mays being number 2, I think, all time players.
Yeah.
Ted Williams to me is number 1 of all time, period. And I think for you, Nick, it's Willie Mays.
It is, yeah, because of just being the first 5-tool player, changed the way the game is being played now, and it's still a model of what the game looks like. To me, that's like the ultimate, like, the Hall of Fame is based on how these players changed the game, how they made an impact on the game, right? And Willie Mays has made the biggest one. I mean, arguably, you could say Jackie Robinson made a bigger impact on that, and it'd be fair.
Sure.
But Willie Mays on the field changed so much that it's, for me, he's the best of all time.
Yeah. And then the flip side of that is Ted Williams basically wrote the book on hitting that is still used today. And I agree with you, Captain, on this one. Like,
I'm taking either one, right?
Ted or Willie. I mean, they are, in my mind, Ted Williams is the number 1. Willie's right behind him. But you could call them 1A, 1B. You could make them interchangeable. I mean, when you look at impact and what they did, and Ted put the numbers he put up, and he lost 3 years to the war.
Yeah, that's crazy too.
I mean, which is crazy to think. He lost 3 probably of his best prime years to the war. Imagine he came back the year after the war and won the MVP, right?
Or
the batting title?
Batted 406 that year.
That's right. 406 was the year after.
I've been flying a plane for 3 years. I'll just come back off and just hit.
I took 3 years off, and I've had the greatest single season ever. It's
silly.
What he could have done if he had played is he would have been probably number 1 in everything.
Yeah. One of these free-form Thursdays, we should just come up with a list again.
We should do the bracket again.
The bracket,
we should do the bracket and let people on the page
vote on it.
Yeah, we got 10,000 followers. Let you guys vote.
Yeah.
What about Roy Halladay? I used to love Doc Halladay.
My favorite matchup I've ever watched in my life is I was spring break in Dunedin, Florida. They were at spring training still. Roy Halladay against Ken Griffey Jr. I saw that matchup live. That was sick. And Griffey took him deep. But, I mean, Roy Halladay was filthy. Nothing.
Roy Halladay would throw a complete game shutout on 67 pitches in 1 hour and 10 minutes.
Yeah.
The guy just mowed people down.
Yeah. Yeah, he didn't let you breathe in the box either.
No.
Like he was ready to go. Have we read The Glory of Their Times with all the interviews from early 1900s ball players?
No, I've not. Never even heard of it.
Huh. Forrest, you need to send me a list of books at this point.
Yeah, Forrest, do us a favor and send us a book list of the stuff you read because I've never even heard of it. My wife just got me a book. It's the Why We Love Baseball, Joe Posnanski, which looks like it's going to be a lot of fun to read.
You'll have to
Like,
give me the cliff notes on it.
I've got all the standards like Baseball Timeline, the Ken Burns baseball book, America's Game with all the cool pullouts and features, but I'd love to know what else is out there that I haven't read yet.
Yeah.
Chris Sale, Cy Young winner last year, although off to a rough start this year. Oh, Forrest, totally. We should make that a topic.
That would be cool.
Yeah,
Book
talk about
list
some
for
baseball
sure.
books people should read.
Yep.
That's the cool thing about baseball is that there's you got 150 years of history if you want to go way back.
Yeah.
By far the oldest sport, and it's not close. Oh, good. Geezer says Joe Panansky's stuff is all good reading. Yeah, my wife picked it up for me. It sounds like a cool book, so I got a couple that I'm finishing, and I'll move on to that one.
Nice. Yeah.
Charlie Huff. Dude was a bazillion years old, still pitching.
Yep. It's awesome.
I still feel like, and this may be biased, but I still feel like Tim Wakefield threw the best knuckleball I've ever seen.
Yeah. I mean, I never really got to see Necro or those guys. You know what I mean?
No, and there's only like some scratchy clips of them available.
And I mean, R.A. Dickey threw a hard one, but it didn't move like Wakefield's.
No, Wake's dance. That thing was like, it was moving. It was all over the place on you.
Yeah. Yeah. So I would say he's got the best one. Although when Stephen Wright came up for the Red Sox,
yeah, his was really good.
He every once in a while would bust out one, and you're like, "Oh, dang!" But Wakefield's was, I would say, more consistent, and I say more consistent as in like it worked half the time.
Yeah,
But,
who's the San Diego pitcher? Is it Waldron that throws the knuckleball on occasion?
Yeah, Matt Waldron.
Yeah, he throws a very good one too.
But he's unique because then he backs it up with 98.
Well, yeah, so it's his changeup. The knuckleball is his changeup.
Yeah, you're just like, God dang, man, what?
So for the hell of it, I was in a national tournament down in Tennessee. We got invited to an invitational national tournament, and I used for that tournament. I threw the knuckleball as my changeup, and it worked awesome.
That's awesome.
I threw a pretty good knuckleball.
I could never take the spin off it. Never.
I could throw a pretty rotationless one. But again, like when you didn't throw it well, like when I didn't throw it well and it just tumbled, the cool thing was because the speed was different enough, it worked like a changeup, even when it was bad.
Right.
But for shits and giggles, I just threw it as a changeup and it worked out awesome for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good point. When that's the only pitch you got, it better be good. I remember when Wakefield would get behind the count, he throw like a 78 mile per hour fastball. You're like, well, that ain't gonna cut it.
It just gas the hitter up with 79.
Yeah, gash it. I mean, I think at one point, I think the hardest I saw him throw was like low to mid 80s. When he really like reached back for it. But Wake didn't have any juice. He just had the knuckleball.
Yeah. Well, he came up as a shortstop, and the only way to lengthen his career was to learn that. So,
yeah, I mean, it worked for him.
Yep. Yeah. Crazy.
Dennis Eckersley with the Oakland A's was my GOAT closer. Eck was really, really good. I mean, hard to argue that he wasn't one of the better closers of all time.
Yeah. I don't know.
Doc Gooden or David Cohn? Oof. Body of work, I'll take David Cohn. Peak, I'd take Doc Gooden.
I'm not taking either.
Pass.
I think it's time to bring back the spitball for sure. Let's do it.
we're gonna offset the torpedo bats with the spitball. Speaking of which, that was a wicked cool chat with Jesse the Case on the torpedo bats.
Yes, it really was.
And
I loved every second of it.
and there's a rumor that Jesse is sending us torpedo bats, which I can't wait to hang on the bat rack behind me and be able to show off on the show.
Yeah, I'm hoping for sure. We just sent him all the video clips from last week too, and
Yeah,
he said
because I'm
thanks.
on my bat rack. I got 2 old Omahas, 2 Louisville Slugger BP bats, and then a really, really old wooden bat. I would love to have a rounding third torpedo bat hanging on that rack.
Yeah, so I'm excited to see what comes out for sure. But
Yep. And then in the case that those are all game balls, home run balls, and game balls. I've kept. I still have all my old original baseball stuff. But like I've got nothing else that and from my childhood that was remotely important except for the baseball stuff.
I don't know where any of my baseball stuff is.
Yep, I've kept
F-
it's traveled with me forever.
Moving from Maine to North Carolina, I think my parents still have my home run balls and stuff, but
Yep.
because I went deep at Hadlock Field my sophomore year twice in the same game. So I have those signed by all my teammates.
That's cool.
Yeah, that was game of my life right there. First 2 at bats I struck out. Next 2 went deep, 3-run shot, 2-run shot, dead center, and then over the clock and left.
Yep. I only ever got to play on Hadlock Field during a showcase. I never got to play a game there.
I've played on it 4 or 5 times because Deering and Portland split their home games there.
Right.
So
yeah, that's a pretty cool benefit to being in Portland.
Yeah.
And of course that stadium's changed a lot. Now you got the Monster and
yeah, I didn't play there when they had the Monster, just had the double wall. But
remember Major League, Jesus Christ, can't hit a curveball.
Yep.
Major League is my favorite baseball movie. Like I watch that every season.
So good. Yeah, I played college baseball. Harrison did too for a year.
Yep. I played 1 season, then I was like, Then I picked up golf.
Yeah, smart. But yeah, I played all 4 years. Loved it. But
yep.
Yeah.
I did the whole like recruiting tour. I went and saw D1 schools, D2 schools, D3 schools. I did the whole showcase circuit. I did the baseball factory and perfect game circuit. And I found that I really didn't. It's hard for me. I was a 6'1" third baseman coming out of New Hampshire. I wasn't going pro. So I chose to back away from some D1 offers that I was looking at. I went D3 and I found after the first season that I wanted to get an education and plan for the real world. I wasn't going to go pro.
Yeah.
Which it hurt. That was a tough decision to make, but it was really, I can't spend all this time on baseball and not get a good education and set myself up poorly in the future. So I chose to walk away.
Well, there was a decent third baseman in front of you anyway, so
I played all fall. I'm not sure where you were, but
I was probably filling holes everywhere else in the infield.
Probably.
Because I played third, second, and first, but
and I think the reality of it too is that I think it's hard. So like I looked at some D1 schools and they set you up to be remote. Like you can be a student and be all over the place relatively easily.
Yeah.
And there's also money there. Like there was athletic scholarship money there that makes it easier.
Right.
When you go to a D3 school, there's not athletic scholarship money. So like I was there for academics. I had a half academic scholarship, which I've got to keep. So to me, it didn't make any sense to keep spending the time on baseball when I wasn't going to go pro.
Right.
And give up the educational opportunity because my education was basically paid for. So I chose to go the path of I'm going to be a student, and I took up golf, which I loved. That was my other favorite sport. And I still play golf today. I don't play baseball anymore though.
Yeah, same. Yeah, I got the blue and white merit scholarship.
Yeah, which was it made shit up to give give money out.
Yeah, pretty much. So it was great. But there's the loopholes around it, but
it's D3 is challenging. It is, you are putting in the time and effort, but there's not all the same level of resources around you.
And the road trips suck.
Oh, awful. It's just
Oh,
friggin' miserable. Buses and it's just buses and
15
vans.
passenger 15
Oh,
passenger vans for 8.5 hours one way. Like, get
yeah,
out of here,
yeah.
dude.
Brutal, absolutely brutal. It's you don't have the resources to be a student like you do in the higher levels.
No. No, you bring yeah, no, it was brutal.
No. Yeah. It was super challenging. So
Yeah.
when I chose not to go the D1 route and do the whole red shirt and then fight for a spot, I kind of knew that I was not going to last long because it didn't
Yeah.
make sense.
Yeah. Yep. Dang. All right.
We went around all kinds of stuff tonight, Nick. It was good
Yeah.
stuff.
Crazy, man. 3 hours. We hit the 3 hour mark tonight. Yikes.
Well, I
All right.
literally just hit it. Good for us.
Yeah. I'm gonna
It's
be
only
a
12:30 here on it's coming up on 12:30 here on the East Coast. So
yeah, I'm gonna be a zombie tomorrow morning.
how's that going to be any different than most days?
It's not, but like I said, I'm in the middle of a 13-day stretch, so this was probably not the
Oh,
smartest thing to do, but
yeah. Well, we don't make smart decisions.
nah, we're young. We'll
Oh,
rebound.
yeah. We're
Maybe not.
young. Are we still young? We consider
No,
ourselves young.
no.
Rory McIlroy, congrats on the Masters Championship.
Yeah, it was crazy. But all right. Well, that was a blast, everybody.
It was a lot of
Thanks.
fun.
That's what we love. That's what we want Thursdays to be. It's pretty much that. Is just absolutely just go back and forth in the chat. We love it. Um, we will be back. It's early here. Yes,
Yeah, it's what 9:30 over there. It's
9:30.
12:30 here.
Yeah,
We
dude.
stay up late, so you don't have to.
That's right. You're welcome. But yeah, we will be back on Sunday, cover some news. We'll have a ton of trivia on Sunday. I got some new stuff that I'm hoping to queue up for Sunday. So keep your eyes peeled. It's all good,
No,
Forrest.
Forrest, keep them
No
coming. That's why we do
worries.
this.
Yep, absolutely.
Why we do
Um,
this.
yeah, keep your eyes peeled. We'll be back on Sunday. More trivia news. We'll go over some of the weekend series because I'm sure a lot of stuff will happen over the weekend. Yeah, we had a little bit of trivia earlier in the night. Sorry, John. You can
Yeah,
go
so
back and you can definitely find it.
not John Dowd. You should keep an eye on you should check out our Facebook page. We actually post all the trivia as reels.
Yeah,
And actually the YouTube page we have the shorts too, so you'll catch the trivia.
yeah. So it will be out. But yeah,
Yeah.
great chatting with everybody. Good
Good
chatting
chatting
with
with
you.
you.
And we will be on Sunday night. So we'll see you then.